Extreme heat warnings in effect in a large portion of the midsection of the country, more than 60 million people impacted. And that includes places like Kansas City, St. Louis, down to Memphis.
The Trump administration has released thousands of records on Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. Correspondent Michael Wallace.
The Office of the Director of National Intelligence says the more than 230,000 pages had never been digitized and were collecting dust in facilities across the government. The records include internal FBI memos about potential leads and the progress agents were making, and CIA records on the search for assassin James Earl Ray. King's family had a chance to review the documents 2 weeks ago. They believe a conspiracy involving government agencies was behind the assassination, and Ray was set up.
The only person tried and convicted in the deadly police raid on Breonna Taylor's home has learned his fate. CBS's Jerika Duncan.
A former Louisville, Kentucky police officer who was convicted in connection with the botched raid that led to the death of Breonna Taylor has been sentenced to 33 months in prison. Last week, the Justice Department recommended that Brett Hankinson should receive a one-day sentence. He was convicted last November of using excessive force during the drug raid that led to Taylor's death.
China has barred 2 Americans, a Wells Fargo banker and a U.S. Patent and Trademark Office employee, from leaving the country. CBS's Anna Corin is in Hong Kong.
These barrings come at a very precarious moment in the US and China relationship. We know there's a trade war ongoing, so these cases further complicate these negotiations.
Tributes to the Cosby Show's Malcolm Jamal Warner, who drowned during a vacation in Costa Rica. CBS's Elise Preston.
Actress Tracee Ellis Ross, who played his wife on the BET sitcom Read Between the Lines, posted in a heartfelt message on Instagram, "What an actor and friend you were. Warm, gentle, present, kind, thoughtful, deep, funny, elegant. You made the world a brighter place."
Comedy's biggest stars took over The Late Show in a show of support for Stephen Colbert.
Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, Adam Sandler, John Oliver, and Stewart reenacted their own Coldplay kiss cam moments in support of Colbert. It was his first night back since announcing the show would be scrapped in May. Dow futures down 8. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
It's 6:03, and right now in downtown St. Louis, it's partly cloudy. 74 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. A new survey recommends St. Louis shut down more than half its public schools, leaving more empty classrooms than full.
The survey predicts the city population will decline by 7% in the next decade, and students in the district by 30%. It also adds up what it would cost to update things like plumbing, HVAC, and electrical to the 79 buildings in the district, including the 7 schools that will not reopen because they're so badly damaged from the May tornado. Hortigan, Clark & Associates put together the data report for the school board. We'll see how much weight it holds during Tuesday night's meeting when it's formally presented. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
I'm Sean Malone. The president of the American Federation of Teachers Local 420, Ray Cummings, says this proposal to consolidate St. Louis public schools is bad for students and teachers. He says this could result in job losses.
Consolidation and downsizing means layoff.
Cummings says the district should look at other options before consolidating their district schools. He adds such a downsizing could only further drive students away from public education and into charter schools. A spokesperson for St. Louis Public Schools declined to comment.
Animal broker Tanya Haddix, known from HBO's Chimp Crazy, was arrested Saturday by U.S. Marshals. Haddix is facing contempt of court charges for failing to provide financial records to PETA following a long legal battle with PETA, which spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to find Tonka, the chimpanzee, after Haddix repeatedly lied under oath that he was dead. Tonka was eventually found hidden in Haddix's basement. PETA is now pushing for her to pay back those legal fees.
We don't know nothing. We haven't seen them yet. They ain't telling us nothing. So we just like to hear something about our son.
That's the father of Samuel Hayes Jr., the man who died in the custody of the City Justice Center this weekend while strapped to a restraining chair. The family's attorney, Jack Waldron, says they hope the new administration at the City Justice Center is more transparent than the previous one.
There's an administration that claims it's going to make a difference and make changes and be transparent. And our hope is that this administration does follow through with what it said it was going to do.
The family is asking the jail to release the tape of their son while he was restrained. Waldron says there should be a tape because the city law requires anyone in the restraining chair be closely monitored and videotaped. KMOX confirmed with a spokesperson for the St. Louis Police Department the Force Investigations will release the video to the family in the near future.
Downtown's historic Wainwright building is about to get round-the-clock protection. This comes as the state of Missouri moves out of its offices, leaving that building empty. Federal ARPA funds are to be spent on 24/7 security and facility management, ensuring the historic property stays safe while its new owner, Arch to Park Equity Fund LLC, weighs redevelopment proposals.
How does mapping technology help make elections more efficient? St. Louis County Republican Director of Elections Rick Stream can tell you. St. Louis County was just awarded the special achievement by big tech company Esri.
We always look around to see what other people are doing and to see if we can, as Eric likes to say, my Democrat counterpart, we follow the case method, which is copy and steal everything. So if somebody's doing something better, we look at it and see if we can incorporate it here in St. Louis. And by the same token, people are looking at what we're doing here too.
Stream says mapping technology helps voters know how long the lines are and look up their ballots ahead of time. It's also helped the elections department become more efficient, saving taxpayers money.
St. Louisans watching Lambert Airport's largest airline for details on big changes. Michael Calhoun has some news.
Of course, some of these big changes have to do with the bags fly free policy. We have known that people who book flights on or after May 28th are going to have to pay $35 for their first check bag, $45 for the second. But when it comes to the really big change, assigned seating, those first flights will be January 27th, 2026. People on July 29th can begin booking flights and picking their seats for that time period. Now, this is also going to change the boarding sequence for Southwest Airlines. It previously had to do with when you checked in. Now it's going to be based on where seats are located. Also, people who choose seats with extra legroom pay more for that, or loyalty members, they will get on the plane first.
An update on two historic Olive Street buildings that St. Louis University once wanted to tear down. The Post-Dispatch reports more than 130-year-old properties will reopen as the Key Burger Bar and Boogie. The Kranzberg Arts Foundation is restoring the buildings, preserving original details like tin ceilings and wood trusses. The new restaurant and dance venue is set to open this October.
Coming up after traffic and weather.
This is KMOX Health Editor Fred Bottomer. What to make of the new reports that COVID cases are on the rise across the country? The answer is coming up.
It is 6:08.
This Simon Cancer Center spotlight how innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Dr. John DePercio.
Patients have come here from all over the United States and, in fact, all over the world to get evaluated and treated for this treatment. We hope that this can be continued, that we demonstrate in a clinical trial that it's safe and effective, and that ultimately it will be approved by the FDA so it's available to everyone in the world.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Ouch! Check from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slap shot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan, Morgan & Morgan.
Proud partner of the St. Louis Blues. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert, and that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
610 on KMOX. Roger Brand checking things out from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, I'm still seeing just a little bit of a delay eastbound 64 at Highway 51, the Richview area in Metro East. That's where we have an overturned tractor-trailer crash. You may be able to get off and get back on the highway at that point. Obviously, I don't have a view of it, but it is closed there because of an overturned semi that happened just a little over 2 hours ago. They're hoping to have it wrapped up by 7 a.m., but I'm still seeing, again, a little bit of a delay at that point. That's the only place I'm seeing delays on the highways. They, like I said, at the top of the hour, they picked up that roadwork eastbound 44 coming through Highway 50, Highway O. That's overnight stuff that will be out there every night through this Thursday. Roadwork on the Illinois side overnight hours as well. That'll run through Friday, and that's all been picked up as well. That's 64 both directions, so on 64 between 15th Street and 157. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The extreme heat warning remains in effect through Thursday. We'll see AccuWeather real field temperatures over 105 today and up to 110 tomorrow and Thursday. A mix of sun and clouds today, hot and humid with a stray afternoon thunderstorm, high 92. Tonight, partly cloudy, very warm and humid, low 78. More sunshine tomorrow, very hot and humid, high 98. Thursday, sun and some clouds, very hot and humid, a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, the high close to 100. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now it is 75 degrees in St. Peter's, Florissant, and downtown St. Louis. 75 degrees. Sponsored by Blindster.com, selling custom blind shades and shutters at low prices. Their blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't for any reason, they'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
It's 6:12. Democrats and some Republican lawmakers, including Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, are calling for legislation that would compel the Trump administration's Justice Department to release all the files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. This comes as Speaker Mike Johnson ruled out an Epstein vote in the House.
Over the weekend, the White House asked the DOJ to release all pertinent grand jury testimony regarding the disgraced financier's legal case. But some Republicans in Congress want to see all the details related to Epstein released. Republican Senator Josh Hawley.
I'm a big believer in transparency, and I think also just for us as a country, it's an important way to get closure. This is a bad guy, and what he did was bad. And it was also pretty extensive. It involved a lot of people.
There are enough House Republicans who say they want to bring legislation to the floor that would compel the Trump administration to release more than just grand jury testimony. Some lawmakers, like Republican Congressman Tim Burchett, believes it's a moral issue.
Ultimately, I don't answer to the president or the voters. I'm going to answer to my maker.
Despite these calls from Democrats and members of his own party, House Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters Monday there will be no votes on anything further related to the Jeffrey Epstein files in the House before they break for their 6-week summer recess on Friday.
My belief is we need the administration to have the space to do what it is doing. And if further congressional action is necessary or appropriate, then we'll look at that. But I don't think we're at that point right now because we agree with the president.
So no vote on this resolution?
No.
Republican Congressman Warren Davidson tells CNN he wants the Attorney General to testify before a hearing on the matter.
I really would like the Committee of Jurisdiction to bring her in and say, hey, you start this off, you've got binders. Please explain. We are led to believe there are going to be some prosecutions. If we're going to prosecute, we assume there's going to be convictions. And I think that's really the disconnect.
President Trump has blamed Democrats for stoking the Epstein story and has said the so-called Epstein files were made up by former Presidents Obama and Biden and former FBI Director James Comey. But House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says blaming Democrats for any of this is ludicrous.
Why do we think President Joe Biden or President Barack Obama's names are being invoked? Because Donald Trump is running scared, and the Trump administration is running scared. What are they hiding from the American people?
John Stolnis, Washington.
COVID-19 cases are on the rise. According to the CDC, the number of cases is growing or likely growing in at least 27 states.
Illinois is one of those states. Missouri is not. CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook on 2 new variants. one called Nimbus, the other called Stratus.
The good news about the variants, I just again checked last night, is they still are, they're no more deadly than, say, the last variant. We're seeing these variants all the time. The vaccines that were made for the last season, for this season, do cover current variants.
Dr. Lepouk says it is especially important for the elderly and the immunocompromised to get an updated COVID booster. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Cardinals played last night in Denver, Colorado, a welcome sight. Two different things. One, the Rockies, who have not been very good this year, so a beatable team, but that has not stopped the Cardinals from stumbling in the past. This time, though, Michael McGreevy on the mound, and he was able to lock things down. 7 innings for McGreevy, 91 pitches thrown, and McGreevy ended up giving up just 2 runs at Coors Field, which can be a difficult place to pitch. We all know that. The other side of things, the Cardinals offense, it finally came alive. And Wilson Contreras, this is good to see. 1-1 game, 4th inning.
First pitch to Wilson Contreras is a long fly ball to left field. This has a chance to go. It is gone for a home run on the first pitch by Wilson Contreras. And how about the Cardinal fans? You can hear them hooting and hollering.
He hit that a long way. Mike Claiborne with the call on KMOX. And then still in the 4th, Mason Wynn.
Gomber's next pitch to win. And he turns on a pitch down the third baseline for a base hit. Here comes Arenado around to score. Mason Wynn drives in another run. He goes into second base standing up, and we're tied at 2.
5th inning, a Brendan Donovan double. Contreras again.
His homer was his 13th of the year. RBI 56. First pitch to him is hit into left field for a hit. Donovan's rounding third base. He's going to score. The throw comes into second base, and it's 3-2 Cardinals. Second RBI of the game for Wilson Contreras. He delivers with 2 outs.
Cardinals go on to win this game 5-2 over the Rockies as they capture the first of 3 in Colorado. The Cardinals with a nice win. They snap out of a skid. They got swept by the Diamondbacks the previous weekend, 6-2, the win for the Cardinals over the Rockies, and they'll play tonight. But we have seen the standings. Everybody has 8.5 games out in the division, 3.5 out in the wild card. A lot of work to do, and only 9 days until the trade deadline. We had Bob Nightingale on the Gas House Gang yesterday talking trade deadline and the Cardinals.
Well, they don't hold off, but they look so bad in Phoenix against the Diamondbacks, and they were playing over their head, I think, the first half. So I'd be very surprised if they don't trade Ryan Helsley. They'll get a lot for him. He's not having the year he had a year ago. So many teams need a back-end starters or closers. That Helsley, I think they'll get a ton for. You got a new GM coming in next year anyway. He's going to do them for the future. They're not going to give Helsley a qualifying offer. It's almost like they have to trade him.
Helsley, the Cardinals closer, would get a pretty good return. The Cardinals also could trade Steven Matz, according to Bob Nightingale, but he doesn't think, the USA Today baseball columnist, that the Cardinals will do much more than that. Probably most of their activity with Chaim Bloom, the new president of baseball operations, in the offseason. But keep an eye on it. 9 days away from the trade deadline as the Cardinals sit 3 games over 500. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
In 2026 and 2027, St. Louis will welcome the world's brightest young innovators as the VEX Robotics World Championship takes over America's Center, and locals are invited to take part. Beyond economic activity, VEX will build lasting social capital, highlighting the region as an innovation hub and even encouraging international participants to consider St. Louis universities for future education. VEX also provides leadership, service, and learning opportunities for local businesses and community members. The VEX Robotics World Championship will rely on some 4,000 local volunteers who will serve as greeters, referees, and judges while showcasing St. Louis hospitality. If you'd like information on volunteer opportunities, just visit ExploreSt. I'm Kat Neville with Explore St. Louis. Until next time, get out there and explore.
Man, the heat has been killer for our comfort in the last week or so. We got swamped, and I'm not going to tell you to call me when we can't take care of you in a reasonable amount of time. But I've been hearing this, and it's interesting to where people want to get prices for new equipment. A word of advice on what you replace it with if you do not call me. Keep this in mind. Don't jump the shark and say, well, the more I spend, the more my bills go down. You and only you know what you spend a month on your utilities for cooling and heating. If you were told you need a new air conditioner or you know it's just not working for you, call me. Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The only number, Missouri and Illinois, is 314-293-2600. God bless.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it's going on 621. Let's get you caught up on your ride in and the steamy hot weather. Here's Roger Brand with the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, that part of it's no fun. The highway drive-in right now is cool and looking good. Everything's nicely lightly occupied. Really, I don't see any issues so far. This traffic report service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, 55, running through McNutt, Butler Hill, just a little busy between Bayless and Weber. Little volume miss off, sort of off the pace there. Out Wentzville Way, southbound 61 looks great. Down onto eastbound 64 or 70, both of them cruising across the Missouri River bridges. Downtown, we're still good to go across the Poplar and the Museo Veterans Bridge westbound on 64. But we do have a little bit of a delay on westbound 270, though, from 203 headed over to Route 3. That could be some overnight road work. We'll keep tabs on that for you. It looks like a little bit of a jam. And at last check, eastbound 64 was still closed at 51 over in the Richview area as you're headed into Mount Vernon. That's because of an overturned semi-crash. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers and important decisions should not be based solely on advertising.
Extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday. Today, sun and clouds, hot and humid, a thunderstorm in one or two spots, says Joe Lundberg, high 92. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid, low 78. Tomorrow, sunny, very hot and humid, a high of 98. This heat is nothing to mess with. Around 105 is what it's going to feel like this afternoon. It's going to feel like over 110 tomorrow and Thursday. That is an extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday. Currently, it's 75 and partly cloudy in downtown St. Louis.
It is 6:23 and the news continues. More on the state audit plan of Pine Lawn. The North County community is under the state's microscope after complaints from taxpayers about abandoned properties and lack of development, plus concerns about transparency. KMOX's Michael Calhoun spoke with State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick about his inquiry into Pine Lawn.
Listen, I think there's some transparency issues. There have been meetings canceled abruptly. They've had issues with passing their budget. And we generally take, requests from the Board of Aldermen pretty seriously. If the people that are charged with governing the entity have concerns significant enough that they would request for us to come conduct an audit and be willing to pay for it out of city funds, we generally try to prioritize those sorts of requests. So, the last time we audited Pine Lawn, I think it was in 2011, which was long before my time in office. I think that was Tom Schweik was the auditor during that last audit. And there were several issues that were raised in that report. So it's been 14 years since we've been to Pine Lawn, and with the aldermanic request, we chose to go ahead and initiate the audit.
Yeah, you mentioned that one meeting, or the meetings, being delayed. There was, a protest that was planned, and they delayed the meeting by 4 days, kind of to avoid that, allegedly. And the protest, I believe, was from citizens who are frustrated with just the basic delivery of city services, stuff like paving the streets. And it looks like from your statement, this is seeming to be less about finances, which audits usually are, and more about like accountability and transparency and how does this actually function?
Yeah, the vast majority of the audits we conduct are performance audits. So we look at the effectiveness and efficiency of management decisions and operations. We look at compliance with state laws and with city ordinances, as well as their own internal policies and regulations. So we conduct a thorough review, not just of looking at their financials and their budgeting processes, but also of their operations, their compliance with various laws, including the Sunshine Law, which is the law that requires them to conduct their operations transparently, conduct open meetings, and only go into closed meetings for reasons that are approved under state law. So we're not just looking at the financials of the city. We're going to be looking at their performance as a governmental unit of the state of Missouri.
Now, when it comes to cooperation from the city, I assume you'll have a lot of records that you'll want to request and, things you want to take a look at. And do you expect, from your dealings so far, do you expect that the city will be cooperative?
It seems that the city is planning to be cooperative so far. I mean, we get into these things, and sometimes as requests get made, there are things that auditees don't want to turn over, and they require us to issue subpoenas. But for the most part, so far, the feedback we've gotten is that there should be some cooperation. And it's also helpful when the request comes from the city itself, because you've got a board of aldermen that's behind the audit. And once this audit conducted, and really any delays that are caused by the lack of cooperation from the city will increase the cost of the audit that the city will have to pay. So there is an incentive there for them to cooperate with us.
And just to remind people about the timeline for an audit like this, it's not like you just jump in and a couple of weeks later you issue some findings. It takes some time to really do a deep dive.
It absolutely does, and I mean a typical audit can take at least 9 months, sometimes a year. If there are few issues and not a lot of findings, they can go more quickly and be done in with less time than that. If there's a lack of cooperation and there's a lot of problems that are identified that require further investigation, it can sometimes take longer than that. As you know, in the St. Louis area, the circuit attorney's office audit took 3.5 years due to a total lack of cooperation from Kim Gardner, as well as delays in the auditor's office under the former administration. But even after I took office, it took 2 years of our time forcing cooperation, and ultimately took Gabe Gore's cooperation to get us what we needed without having to go to court for every single request that we were making to conduct the audit. So, I mean, the level of cooperation as well as the number of issues identified has a significant impact on the amount of time it takes to issue a report.
State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick, thanks for being with us on KMOX.
Thanks, man.
It's 6:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Gamma Tree Experts, GammaTree.com. Gamma Tree's roots run deep. Gamma Tree Experts. St. Louis Tree Service has provided high quality tree and shrub care since 1954. I speak from experience. I have worked with Gamma Tree Experts for a decade plus now. And Tim Gamma, such a great person. We love when he comes over and checks out all the trees in our yard. He's helped us out. We've had a tree that died. We didn't realize it. And he had that tree taken out. We've had limbs trimmed back, and you've got to do all that stuff, especially with the storms that roll through the area. Those trees can do some serious damage to your property. Not only do they do the job right, but Gamma Tree Experts is professional, responsive. Quality is of prime importance. Integrity is all about Gamma Tree Experts, professional staff and experienced staff of horticulturists and certified arborists. These are people that don't pretend like they know what they're doing. They are trained to work on the trees in your yard and your commercial property, dedicated to preserving them. Your St. Louis Tree Service is Gamma Tree Experts, GammaTree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. Classes start August 13th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SHEV.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ETHOS.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club. Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
It is 6:30 and we have cloudy skies downtown. It's 75 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, as you're getting out on the area roadways, it's getting a little busier in spots. Not terrible. The only place I'm seeing delays right now is on the Illinois side, westbound Highway 270. You've got bogged down traffic, not a solid jam, but it's pretty heavy from 111 most of the way to 203. It's opening up through 203. It's opening up before you get to Route 3. So 111 to almost Route 3 is pretty heavy. Not a solid jam, but it's certainly slow. 55 northbound looks good down in Festus. Bayless up to River to Pear, starting to get the usual slow going in that construction area. Eastbound 30, Mauer to 270. There's a little bit of volume there. Southbound 61 on to 64 or 70 coming in from Wentzville. That looks good. 141 exiting at Olive. Looks like those ramps are a little backed up right now. Downtown, we still look great. Westbound, headed across the Poplar and the Musewell Veterans Bridges. Last check, we still had eastbound 64 closed at 51. I believe you have to enter and exit and re-enter the highway there. That's an overturned semi-crash in the Richview area. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We do have extreme heat, a warning in effect through Thursday. So today, sun and clouds, hot and humid, a thunderstorm or two in spots, a high of 92, but it's going to feel like 105. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 98. It's going to feel more like 110. 75 degrees out there right now.
The family of the deceased detainee of the City Justice Center is demanding more information from the city.
Has anyone in the family heard from the jail staff? Anyone in the City Justice Center?
No. Besides an initial phone call notifying them of the passing of Samuel, there's been nothing. There's been no follow-up.
As of early Friday evening, the family of the deceased, Samuel Hayes Jr., say they have not heard any further information from the city jail about their son's death. They're asking for the video of their son in the restraining chair to be released to them. Their attorney, Jack Waldron, says they are not the only ones waiting for this tape.
We've also spoken with the medical examiner who conducted an initial autopsy today. They've also said that they are waiting for the video, too.
Waldron says city law requires detainees secured in the restraining chair be closely monitored and videotaped. Therefore, a tape must exist. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX contacted a spokesperson for the city police department who says the tapes will be released to the family in the near future, as they customarily do with force investigations.
An analysis of the recently signed so-called One Big Beautiful Bill is projecting a steep rise in household energy costs in Missouri.
A Washington, D.C. nonpartisan think tank, which focuses on energy and climate policy, projects that as a result of the spending package, Missouri could see the highest increase in utility costs in the nation over the next decade. The think tank, called Energy Innovation, projects Missouri utility costs would rise by an estimated $640 per household per year by 2035. Sue Danielson, Missouri Net.
Ameren, Missouri is already hiking rates that have nothing to do with the Republican mega budget bill. The average customer's Ameren gas bill will go up about $13 a month. The Missouri Public Service Commission approved the utility's request, although the Consumers Council of Missouri warns that rate increases are outpacing inflation and wage growth. Ameren says the hike is vital for Ameren to recover lost profits. This price hike will kick in September 1st.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Stay with us. We've got the latest for you from Bloomberg. It is 6:34.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're part of it. Expert care and genuine support backed by a network that puts your health first. HSHS, connected to our community, committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
Your
biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
636, your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
Good morning. AstraZeneca becomes the latest pharma giant planning to invest big in the U.S. The company joins other European drug makers promising to do the same to get ahead of potential tariffs on imported medicines. The company says it will invest $50 billion in manufacturing and research and development. The investment includes $4 billion for a new facility in Virginia that will make drugs for chronic diseases. The nation's biggest power grid is at capacity. Monitoring Analytics, the independent watchdog for PJM interconnection, says there is no spare supply for new data centers. The PJM grid extends from Washington to Chicago. The findings mean that data center developers will have to build their own power plants. And NASA's Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex in Florida tops TripAdvisor's annual ranking of the top attractions in the U.S. New York's Empire State Building placed second. The Sun Studio in Memphis took third place. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Hey guys, Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, you can choose from payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest, plus a free in-home window and energy assessment from the leaders in the window business. Been with these guys now for a while, and they have treated me very well and my listeners very well. Many of you from the DGS have reached out to get a quote. As you know, they're always in the middle because they are just a solid company. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
Tonight, the Cards, the Rockies.
Cameron Total Access 645.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:40. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand, who's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's still not bad out on the highways in the metro area for the most part, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. We still have that slow going, but it doesn't look as bad in Madison County right now. I'd say westbound 270 is heavy from 255 to 203, or to 111 rather, 255 to 111. It's opening up as you head toward 203, so that's looking a lot better than it did 10, 15 minutes ago. IDOT also says eastbound 64 was just reopened a couple of minutes ago at Highway 51 in Richview, so things are back to normal there. They got that cleared a little ahead of schedule, which is nice to see. Northbound Highway 55, just some slow traffic from Bayless up to River to Pear. North 270 Doherty Ferry up the hill to Manchester looks a little busy. Eastbound 30, some slow stuff up the hill from Mauer to 270. 61 southbound onto 64 or 70 coming out of Wentzville across the Missouri River bridges. No delays, just a little slowdown. Southbound 270 in the right lanes approaching the 64 interchange. Downtown, we're still clear westbound across the Poplar and Mutual Veterans bridges. Chances are you have a lot of people who depend on you, your family, maybe even employees. Life insurance from Penn Mutual can provide you peace of mind and protect the most important people in your life. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Next update at 6:50 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Hot and humid. That is the story of the week.
It is indeed, Tom. We're expecting temperatures today to reach into the lower 90s. That's not necessarily that far above average, which is 90. But with the humidity, it's really going to feel very uncomfortable. With AccuWeather real field temperatures over 105 under partly sunny skies, a very small chance for a thunderstorm. Then partly cloudy tonight. It won't cool off much at all. Our low just 78. More sunshine tomorrow, hotter and remaining humid with a high of 98. Those real fields peak at 110 in the afternoon. And about the same Thursday. Sun and some clouds, slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm with highs near 100. We back away from the extreme heat a little bit on Friday with a thunderstorm likely in the afternoon, the high 95. Clouds and sun Saturday, temperatures low to mid 90s with a good chance for a thunderstorm. Right now, we've got 75 degrees in St. Peter, 77 in Florissant, and partly sunny and 78 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:42, and returning to the news, we are hearing from Bill Cosby on the death of a man who played his son on The Cosby Show.
Malcolm Jamal Warner played Theo Huxtable in every season the show was on. Bill Cosby tells CBS News he compares Warner's death to learning of the death of his own son Ennis, who was shot and killed in a robbery in 1997.
Malcolm was always embracing relationships with everybody he worked with.
Warner was one of the prime representations of American teenage boyhood on a show that was the most popular in America for much of its run. But The Cosby Show is not widely available for streaming now, as it was pulled due to Cosby facing allegations, then being convicted of sexual misconduct. Matt Piper, CBS News.
There was an all-star show of support last night for Stephen Colbert as some of the top figures in comedy appeared on CBS's The Late Show following the first show since its surprise cancellation. Paramount, the parent company of CBS, says the cancellation is budgetary. Bradley Blackburn with the latest.
In the audience at the Ed Sullivan Theater, comedy stars turned out, from NBC ratings rivals Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers to Adam Sandler to John Oliver and Jon Stewart, all supporting Colbert, who has been a sharp critic of Paramount's recent decision to settle a lawsuit against CBS filed by President Trump. A multi-billion-dollar deal to sell Paramount to Skydance still requires approval from the FCC. In a statement last week, Paramount said about the cancellation, this is purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night.
Pamela Anderson says she is just getting started with her Hollywood comeback after snagging her first Golden Globe and SAG nominations for The Last Showgirl. She's stepping back into the spotlight with a new role in The Naked Gun, which hits theaters August 1st.
Just working. It's a happy surprise that I get to do this again. I'd gone home and thought, okay, well, I'll make pickles and bake bread and I'll make my life beautiful no matter what. But I had this craving to do more in this industry. So I'm really grateful and just having a good time.
Interesting thing about Pamela Anderson's career, it started when somebody spotted her on a video board during a game. You know that?
I believe it.
That's true. Speaking of video boards, there is more to the Kiss Cam scandal.
There's a new guy in charge at Astronomer after the data tech company CEO Andy Byron was caught on Kiss Cam with a coworker at a Coldplay concert last week.
Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
New York Times says Astronomer co-founder Pete DeJoy has stepped up to the plate to run the company on an interim basis. In a LinkedIn post, he puts a positive spin on the viral moment. DeJoy says it's brought them a level of media attention few companies, let alone small startups, ever encounter. He says that while he would never wish for it to happen like this, Astronomer is now a household name.
Matthew Tkachuk brought the Stanley Cup to St. Louis, and it made its tour yesterday. The Florida Panthers star, St. Louis native, back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, brought it to St. Louis Children's Hospital, to the Brentwood Police Department. He held it for a picture in a jail cell. He also took it to the Brentwood Fire Department and to Obie Clark's in Brentwood, among other things. What a weekend for Tkachuk. He brought the Stanley Cup to town. He got married on Saturday. Matthew Tkachuk and the Florida Panthers, they're going to try to make it 3 in a row this upcoming season. As for the Cardinals, they are 3 games over 500 after a victory in Colorado at Coors Field. Final was 6-2, Matt Pauley.
After a weekend in Arizona where the Cardinals get swept by the Diamondbacks, they pull themselves off the mat, beating the Rockies 6-2. Manager Oliver Marmol says the club needed the win.
Get knocked around the way we did over the weekend, you have to come and respond the way we did today, so it was very important.
They get the victory in large part thanks to an offensive day where the team collects 15 hits. 5 players had multiple hits, with Wilson Contreras and Mason Wynn each going 3 for 5.
I liked our approach today. Our execution was awesome. Attention to detail was there.
Contreras hits the only home run of the game, his 13th of the year. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Looking forward to seeing what they do with Michael McGreevy. And, of course, the trade deadline is 9 days away. Ollie Marmol will answer all of those questions and more in the Gas House Gang appearance at 12:05 today. Bernie Miklas, Chris Ranji, and me on the Gas House Gang. We had a chance to visit with, I did, Kirk Herbstreit, the ESPN college football analyst. You know him for all of the years of college football talk, but he also is a dog lover, and his unique docuseries called Fueled By is presented by Purina Pro Plan.
Yeah, I lost my dear friend Ben last year in November, right in the middle of the football season, which was a tough time, and played out on national TV. I think people fell in love with Ben. In fact, I got a letter from the White House when Ben passed away from Joe Biden, just saying how much he cared about Ben. And so he touched a lot of people. And, I have 4 dogs. I got a puppy named Bo, who's now in the house. And ProPlan approached me and asked me to be a part of this series, Fueled By, that you mentioned, where we visit with some elite athletes. George Kittle of the 49ers, who's obviously known for what he is on the field, but just a diehard dog owner. Sophia Wilson, Rose Lavelle, and the U.S. Women's National Team with soccer. And we just had a chance to visit with them and get to know them better as people and as dog owners. And what we found they all have in common is what I'd probably, Tom, you and so many others out there is these dogs are family members, and putting the right nutrition in them and taking care of them and giving them the best chance of having a great life is essentially important to all of us. And so ProPlan realizes that. They have so many different opportunities to give your dogs different types of food, depending on the age, the activity level, the breed. And so that was what really drew me to being a partner with them, and had a great time doing it.
Kirk Herbstreit partnering with the local company Purina. You can find that show Fueled By on YouTube. St. Louis Composting brings you Who's Hot, Who's Not, and what a great company they are. St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com. You can actually search for and actually peruse a menu of compost, soil, and mulch. They have 9 locations in the St. Louis area. They have retail locations. If you have a truck or a trailer, you can pick up your order at any of their 9 locations. No need to order online or pay delivery fees. We gladly paid the delivery fee, though, as we had them come by our house and deliver mulch, and it looks great. It is held up very well in our yard. They take care of everything. Premium certified compost in St. Louis, organic waste transformed into compost. St. Louis Composting. Whether you're looking for bulk or just a few bags, St. Louis Composting. STLcompost.com. STLcompost.com.
We started Neovitin because we wanted to create a multivitamin for ourselves. That's why we focus on quality ingredients and formulas with our multivitamins. Neovitin 50 Plus multivitamins are formulated with over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our 4-ingredient physician-formulated proprietary blend for the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitin 50 Plus multivitamins a try for yourself. Find them at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
It is 6:51, time for traffic and weather. Roger Brand has the very latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, getting a little busier, but not terrible out there so far this morning, Debbie. This traffic report's a service of Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They just cleared a stall eastbound 70 near Natural Bridge in front of the airport. There is a crash downtown, westbound 70 at Goodfellow. They're blocking the right lane there, so watch for that. I barely even see a slowdown there. It really doesn't look bad. Just barely a slowdown as you get through Goodfellows because it's westbound, I suppose, so it's not too impactful. A little more volume on North 270, north of Gravois briefly, and then Big Bend up toward Doherty Ferry looks a little slower. Southbound 61 down onto eastbound 64 or 70, both look great. Southbound 79 approaching North Main Street, some slower traffic moving through there. Northbound 55 Bayless up to River to Pear. That's busy downtown. Westbound looks great across the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges. And westbound 270 is all back to normal now. There's a little bit of a heavy stretch right at 55 in the detour stretch, but that stretch west of 255 through 203 and Route 3 where we had earlier delays, they have cleared out. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hot and humid, Roger. Extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday. Real feels 105 this afternoon, over 110 tomorrow and Thursday. A thunderstorm, a chance for 1 or 2 spots today. High 92, low 78 tonight, high 98 tomorrow. It's 76 right now.
The news continues at 6:52. Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick tells KMOX he intends to get to the bottom of why Pine Lawn residents are upset with their town. Alderman asked the auditor to come in and take a look, which Fitzpatrick says is a big deal.
We generally take requests from the Board of Aldermen pretty seriously. If the people that are charged with governing the entity have concerns significant enough that they would request for us to come conduct an audit and be willing to pay for it out of city funds, we generally try to prioritize those sorts of requests.
He says they'll look at the city's operations, as some of the taxpayer complaints are about lack of development and abandoned properties. The audit could take a year to complete.
Renewed calls to repeal Illinois' Safety Act following the ICE arrest of a man accused of keeping a woman's body in a storage container. WBBM's Haley Hansen.
52-year-old Jose Luis Mendoza Gonzalez is charged with concealing the death of Megan Boss for nearly 2 months. He'd been released pending trial under the Safety Act, but was arrested by immigration agents over the weekend.
It's just a shame that ICE has to come in and clean up the failings of the Safety Act.
Republican State Representative Patrick Sheehan is again calling for the repeal of the Safety Act.
Catch and release mentality, I think, has encouraged offenders to reoffend at a higher rate.
Sheehan says it's time for lawmakers to find a better solution.
Lake County Prosecutor Eric Reinhardt has been a supporter of the Safety Act. He released a statement which said in part that his office found no sign of a struggle or trauma on Megan's body and that he's prepared to ask ICE to keep the defendant locally so that he can face charges.
In world news, Israel expanded its ground operations into the central Gaza city of Deir Abala.
For the first time yesterday, nearly 88% of the Gaza Strip is now estimated as evacuated or military zones, with roughly 2 million Palestinians displaced. Officials believe some of the remaining 50 hostages from the October 7th attack may be held in Deir al-Balah.
Lawyers for Harvard University and the Trump administration appeared in federal court yesterday over whether Harvard can recoup roughly $2.6 billion in research grants. The administration cut the grants after accusing Harvard of anti-Semitism. Harvard claims the cuts were retaliatory after it rejected federal demands to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
I found a trio of football birthdays today. Steven Jackson, man, what a running back he was. It's a shame he played for such bad Rams teams. He was awesome. Steven Jackson, born on this date in 1983. Ezekiel Elliott from Alton, Illinois. He's still going. Zeke turns, he's born in 1995, so he is the big 3-0 today. And so is Jonathan Owens. He has a famous wife, Simone Biles.
Oh, yeah.
He's a St. Louisan, plays for, has played in the NFL, plays for the Bears right now.
Don Henley's having a birthday. Also, my daughter's numero uno. Selena Gomez is 33 years old today. How about that? If you'd like to submit a birthday or anniversary to be announced during this segment, totalam@kmox.com is the email, totalam@kmox.com. Happy birthday wishes to Rose Prohaska of New Baden and Kate Muldoon.
This is the best birthday ever.
Banner Construction. What a great company they are. Man, we have a great roster of companies, and I love talking about them all. Banner Construction's been with us for a long time as well. They've been in business for over 30 years, exterior remodeling. You know, your home is a big investment. It's one of the biggest investments you'll ever make. So you want to make it right, and you want to do it right. And enhancing the flow or appearance of your home, increasing its curb appeal and value, all of that matters. You want to eliminate costly, repetitive maintenance. So you want to get the right people to do the job right the first time. And exterior home remodeling services should always go to Banner Construction. They cover the entire St. Louis metro area. They have for over 3 decades. You can schedule a free consultation. I first heard Charlie Brennan talking about them years ago, and I said, hey, I want to get on the Banner team. I like the Banner team. So I had lunch with the Banner team. I played golf with the Banner team. I like them. And any exterior home remodeling contractors out there know that few can match the experience and dedication to excellence they provide at Banner Construction. BannerConstruction.com to learn more. Banner Construction, 314-569-1050, and have a banner day.
By the way, birthdays are sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family-owned and top-rated, RennerDoorSTL.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
In sports, it's the dream team. And if your car is out of warranty, there's a team for that as well. You, the driver, your mechanic, and Endurance to pay for the repair bills. I'm Danica Patrick. In the past 5 years, auto repair costs have gone up over 36%. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all. With an Endurance auto protection plan, no matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done by the certified mechanic of your choice. Plans cover 24/7 towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, and lockout services. Act now and get the benefits of our Elite Plan, a $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again. So call now for your free quote.
Call 800-291-0342. 800-291-0342. 800-291-0342.
Roger Brand, you're in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they may have cleared that crash. It was in the right lane, westbound 70, just past Goodfellow. There was a little slowdown. Traffic looks like it's moving better through there now, so that's good news, obviously. Northbound 270, Big Bend, Doherty Ferry area is a little slow. South 270, Ladue down to 64. A little bit of volume there. Northbound 55, just a little busy from Weber up to River to Pear so far. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A lot of Americans are bracing for a scorcher. Large portions of the country are under heat alerts. CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano.
We've got the heat warnings up from St. Louis back through Paducah, Memphis, Jackson, Little Rock. All those cities are in it. We're looking for temps to get to 98 in Jackson, 100 in Memphis with the humidity, 111. Tomorrow, similar numbers, but the thing tomorrow is it's going to start to spread off towards the north and east.
The Pentagon has ordered remaining federal troops to leave L.A. CBS's Eleanor Watson.
The 700 active duty Marines deployed to L.A. after protests earlier this summer will soon head home. In a statement, the chief Pentagon spokesperson on Monday said the Marines were, quote, instrumental in restoring order and upholding the rule of law. The Trump administration in June, in a rare move, deployed both active duty Marines and members of the National Guard to the streets of LA in the wake of protests against immigration policies, despite objections from California's governor.
National park rangers have put down a mountain lion that bit a 4-year-old in Washington state.
The child's family was walking on a trail in Olympic National Park Sunday when the cougar attacked. Steve Morrow was hiking nearby.
We heard screaming of a small child.
Morrow says the father was able to get his child away from the big cat.
He's a hero. I don't think that kid would survive if it wasn't for his dad.
The child was airlifted to a hospital and has since been released. Using a canine team, rangers tracked down the cougar and, in their words, dispatched the cat. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Cosby Show fans are mourning a loss.
That's about $1 a year.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, an actor who rose to fame as the beloved Theo Huxtable on 8 seasons of The Cosby Show, died on Sunday. Officials say the 54-year-old was swimming at a Costa Rican beach when he was swept away by a powerful current. Bystanders tried to rescue him, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
CBS's Jerika Duncan. Warner was 54. Her family made a fortune serving up burgers in California. But the chain CEO says it's time to get out of the state where she built her empire. Lindsay Snyder tells the Relatable podcast.
There's a lot of great things about California, but raising a family is not easy here.
She says she's
business is not easy here.
She says she's moving hers to Tennessee. A young royal celebrating a special day.
I'm Vicky Barker in London. William and Kate's eldest, Prince George, is 12 today, and his parents have posted a photo of him on social media with a birthday cake emoji and the message, Happy 12th birthday to Prince George.
Dow futures down 67. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
It is 7:04, and right now we've got cloudy skies, 76 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The family of the deceased detainee of the City Justice Center is demanding more information from the city.
Has anyone in the family heard from the jail staff? Anyone in the City Justice Center?
No. Besides an initial phone call notifying them of the passing of Samuel, there's been nothing. There's been no follow-up.
As of early Friday evening, the family of the deceased, Samuel Hayes Jr., say they have not heard any further information from the city jail about their son's death. They're asking for the video of their son in the restraining chair to be released to them. Their attorney, Jack Waldron, says they are not the only ones waiting for this tape.
We've also spoken with the medical examiner who conducted an initial autopsy today. They've also said that they are waiting for the video, too.
Waldron says city law requires detainees secured in the restraining chair be closely monitored and videotaped. Therefore, a tape must exist. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX contacted a spokesperson for the city police department who says the tapes will be released to the family in the near future, as they customarily do with force investigations.
A new survey recommends St. Louis shut down more than half of its public schools, leaving more empty classrooms than full.
The survey predicts the city population will decline by 7% in the next decade, and students in the district by 30%. It also adds up what it would cost to update things like plumbing, HVAC, and electrical to the 79 buildings in the district, including the 7 schools that will not reopen because they're so badly damaged from the May tornado. Hortigan, Clark & Associates put together the data report for the school board. We'll see how much weight it holds during Tuesday night's meeting when it's formally presented. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
We have more information on the investigation into what's dubbed an embattled St. Louis County community. We told you last week about State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick starting to look into the situation in Pine Lawn. Now he's talking with KMOX about it.
Listen, I think there's some transparency issues. There have been meetings canceled abruptly. They've had issues with passing their budget.
Taxpayers, he says, aren't thrilled with how the city has been managed. Pine Lawn's mayor previously told KMOX he expected the town would cooperate fully with the inquiry, and Fitzpatrick says records requests are going smoothly.
St. Louis County has one of the most innovative elections boards in the country.
That's according to one of the biggest geospatial tech firms in the country, Esri, with operations in our area, just awarding St. Louis County with the Special Achievement in GIS Award. St. Louis County Republican Director of Elections Rick Stream says when he started on the job 8 years ago, nobody knew what geospatial meant. Now,
I think it's made it better for the voters, as well as better operational. We've been able to reduce the staff by doing things like this, automation and technology.
That efficiency has brought staffing down from 77 people to 48 now. How do citizens see a difference?
Especially in 2020 and in 2024, when we had those long lines, people were able to see how long the lines were at each one of our polling places, and that's part of the GIS process.
One county employee, he says, was slated to go work at the NGA, but since the feds put a hold on new hires, that person is staying with the county to work on this. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A merger between Centerstone Health of Nashville and Brightly of Springfield, Missouri is expected to create the largest nonprofit mental health provider and expand access to mental health and substance abuse care. The two organizations have a St. Louis presence through Places for People. The combined providers would reportedly serve 250,000 people a year with an annual revenue exceeding $1 billion.
COVID cases are growing, or at least likely growing, in 27 states now, including Illinois. That's according to a new warning from the Centers for Disease Control.
But Missouri is not in that grouping of COVID-concerned states. Even so, SLU Care General Internist Dr. Fred Buchhold at SSM Health St. Louis University Hospital says there are certain high-risk groups that should try to get a booster this season.
My general advice would be, particularly as we enter the fall months, I would strongly consider a booster if you're about the age of 65, if you're immunocompromised, or other health concerns that put you at higher risk for having complications from COVID.
The CDC says it is also seeing the highest rate of ER visits for young kids with COVID-related symptoms since March. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
We'll check traffic and weather next.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler for 213 Complex, which is available at supplement superstores. Look, 213 Complex is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed, and here's why. It optimizes thyroid function, and it boosts your metabolism 24 hours a day, while you're sleeping too. So you're burning more stored body fat. Also getting that appetite and craving control that I love. You get all-day focused energy with no jitters, so all you need to do is get out to supplement superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off 213 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Quiver River Electric Cooperative members, take control of your energy costs by monitoring your energy usage. Our online member portal, or the MyQuiver app, allows you to set usage alerts and receive notifications when your energy consumption exceeds a certain threshold. Discover easy ways to save. Not sure how to read your energy usage? We're here to help. To learn more, visit our website, quiverriver.com, or call us at 1-800-392-3709.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's get a look at traffic and weather, and Roger Brand starts us off in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it looks like we have a little trouble in Metro East right now, Debbie. Starting to back up traffic. There was a minor crash reported around the three I's. It's 70, 270, and 55 over in Troy, where we have the southbound or westbound 5570 closures. Southbound 55 is bogged down south of 143. Westbound 70, there's a delay about a half mile, 3/4 mile approaching the interchange onto westbound 270. Once you get through that interchange, it opens up and then it moves well across the bridges coming out of Madison County. So there is a pretty heavy traffic up there. Again, there was a minor crash reported. Other than that, though, on the Missouri side, we've thinned out. 55 north of Bayless looks good. 270 through Gravois north of 44 around Ladue, both directions. Everything's on the go. Eastbound 70 and 64 great from out Wentzville way. Downtown westbound 64 is a little busy at the 70 split, but no slowdowns across the Poplar. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg knows it's going to be a hot one today, tomorrow, and for the foreseeable future.
KMOX AccuWeather, the extreme heat warning continues in effect through Thursday with AccuWeather real field temperatures over 105 today and up to 110 or higher tomorrow and Thursday. Times of sun and clouds today, hot and humid with a stray thunderstorm, high 92. Partly cloudy, uncomfortably warm and humid tonight, though 78. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, very hot and humid, high 98. Thursday, sunshine and some clouds, very hot and humid. Slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, the high near 100. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Warming up by the minute, it seems. It's going to be very warm today. It's already 76 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:12, and St. Louis County has upgraded their emergency siren system, automating them by linking their activation to the National Weather Service warnings. The new system also divides the sirens into 3 zones, splitting them into North, Central, and South County. Emergency Management Director Michelle Ryan says they used major roadways to divide the county.
We used major boundaries, Page Avenue and Manchester Road.
Ryan says the goal is to make the siren activation more targeted, so if a warning is issued for North County, South County residents won't hear the alarm go off.
The Home Depot warehouse in Mexico, Missouri will permanently close on October 26th, according to a layoff filing with the state. The facility's shutdown will impact 61 employees. Home Depot is trying to reduce costs. The home improvement chain closed warehouses in other parts of the country within the past year, including in the Phoenix and Chicago areas.
There's a new auto supplier in Normal, Illinois, just up by 55. That's where electric vehicle maker Rivian has a big plant already. Adient, which makes seats for cars, is investing more than $8 million to produce them for Rivian. The move brings 75 new jobs to Normal. It's also about boosting efficiency for Rivian as it prepares to increase its own production.
Downtown St. Louis's historic Wainwright building is about to get round-the-clock protection. This comes as the state of Missouri moves its offices out, leaving the building empty. Federal ARPA funds are set to be spent on 24/7 security and facility management, ensuring the property stays safe while its new owner, Arch to Park Equity Fund LLC, weighs redevelopment proposals.
Drones or bees? Well, this would be a few thousand bees in the back of an SUV that crashed and overturned on Highway 30 in Jefferson County on Saturday. Cedar Hill Fire Chief Mick Fisher, who just happens to be a beekeeper, came to the rescue.
We were kind of talking like, well, this is the first time this has happened, so that was for all of us that have been working out in this area for 30 plus years, the first time that we had an accident that involved bees.
The driver was seriously hurt in that crash, but is expected to be okay. Chief Fisher says he's keeping the bees until the owner comes to claim them. He doesn't believe the bees caused the crash.
I've been beekeeping for 15 years, and probably the majority of the times that I've been stung has been my own fault. Like I get a bee stuck maybe in the crease in my arm or something, and I move, and then I kind of pinch the bee in my arm, and then they'll sting.
Let's go to baseball, and Ricky Horton get us started as the Cardinals got themselves together and picked up a victory.
For Mike Claiborne and John Rooney, this is Ricky Horton with the Redbird recap. Yesterday, the Cardinals were able to beat the Colorado Rockies in Colorado, winning game number 52 on the season. The final score was 6-2. They had 15 hits in the game as the Cardinals stopped their losing streak by beating the Rockies first of 3 here in Denver. Cardinals got good pitching from Michael McGreevy, picked up his second victory. He was able to go 7 innings, and Wilson Contreras provided a lot of the offense, a home run, a single, a double, a couple of RBIs, and the Cardinals were able to hang on for that 6-2 victory. Good work by Romero and Maton out of their pen. Tonight, the Cardinals take on the Rockies again. It'll be Eric Fetty, 3-9, going up against Bradley Blaylock, 0-2. Our pregame show begins at 6:45, play-by-play at 7:30, and we hope you'll join us on the Cardinals Radio Network. It's powered by Graybar. And this has been your Redbird Recap.
Ricky, our player to bank on, brought to you by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. I'm actually going to call this the person to bank on, and that person is Chaim Bloom, the upcoming president of baseball operations. He will be overseeing everything, replacing John Mozeliak. And I asked Bob Nightingale, the USA Today baseball columnist, as the trade deadline closes in 9 days away, how does he see that working between Mozeliak and Bloom?
Well, I think it's going to be Chaim Bloom's call. I mean, he's kind of building this team for the future. I'm sure Mo would probably like to keep him because this is his last year. But I'm sure Chaim is saying, wait a minute now. We don't, even if we somehow made the playoffs, not going to go deep by any means. But I think he's thinking, hey, get something for healthy now. If they're going to give him a qualifying offer, it'd be a different story. But I can't see them giving $22, $23 million to a closer to a closer in Helsley. So that's why I think that Chaim Bloom will say, hey, as much as it might hurt, we got to make this move.
He thinks Ryan Helsley is going to be traded. Cardinals just acquired through the draft a big-time closer in Liam Doyle out of the University of Tennessee, someone certainly to watch. Cardinals are 8.5 out in the division, 3.5 back in the wild card. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
104.1 FM, KMOX. News, talk, sports.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-355-8282. That's 800-355-8282. Again, that's 800-355-8282.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis and St. Charles families have trusted Suntrup Buick GMC. As a proud family-owned dealership, we offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Buick GMC, you'll always find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and every vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupbuickgmc.com. Save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're your neighbors, your friends, your support system. From your first visit, you'll experience expert care backed by the strength of our entire health network. At HSHS, we put your health first, with medical expertise and kindness that makes you feel valued at every step. HSHS, connected to our community, committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring to learn more.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:20, time for us to get you updated on the ride in and the weather. It's going to be really, really steamy, extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday. Before we get to that, though, let's see if traffic is heating up during this morning rush. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it hasn't been bad so far, Debbie. Some slow stuff here and there. The busiest spot really recently was on the Illinois side, and it doesn't look as bad as it did, but there's still slow traffic on southbound 55, south of 143 down to the Three Eyes, westbound 70 approaching that interchange is a little slow, and westbound 270 from that point just briefly west as everything merges together, and then it bogs down again west of 157 to 255. Of course, that's the alternate route to the westbound 55-70 closure at 159. A little more volume now. South 270, Ladue down to 64 is a little busy. North 270, heavy both sides of Gravois, a little crowded through Manchester. Eastbound 64, Prospect toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard, seeing a little volume there as well. Eastbound 70 looks great off the Blanchette Bridge. East and westbound 64 around the Interbell, a little slow. Northbound 55 down around McNutt looks great. It's just, again, a little busy. Loughborough up through Holly Hills and downtown. We're still good to go westbound across the Poplar and Musical Veterans Bridges. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cold in this studio. If you're watching our YouTube, X, or Facebook feed, you can see Debbie Monterrey is wearing her KMOX jacket.
Yes, I have my jacket.
I'm resisting putting on my vest over here, still wearing the AB polo. At any rate, when I go outside, I will not want to be anywhere near a jacket. Extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday. AccuWeather real field temperatures around 105 this afternoon, over 110 tomorrow and Thursday. Times of sun and clouds, hot and humid, high 92 today, low 78 tonight with humidity. Tomorrow, sunny and hot and humid, a high of 98. Joe Lundberg says Thursday's high is near 100. And there could be a stray afternoon thunderstorm on Thursday. Could be a thunderstorm today. I mean, it's summer in St. Louis after all. You just never know what's going to be brewing out there. Right now, it's 76 downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by Spire Energy. Spire has a fresh new look coming your way. They're updating their envelope color from orange to white. In August, be on the lookout for your Spire natural gas bill arriving in a fresh white envelope.
I want orange.
You want that?
I want orange.
I want the fresh white envelope. So you and I disagree on the envelope.
Oh, well. It's 7:22, and we agree that the news continues here on KMOX. Democrats and some Republicans, including Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, are calling for legislation that would compel the Trump administration's Justice Department to release all of the files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, not just the grand jury testimony. This comes as Speaker Mike Johnson ruled out an Epstein vote in the House.
Over the weekend, the White House asked the DOJ to release all pertinent grand jury testimony regarding the disgraced financier's legal case. But some Republicans in Congress want to see all the details related to Epstein released. Republican Senator Josh Hawley.
I'm a big believer in transparency, and I think also just for us as a country, it's an important way to get closure. This is a bad guy, and what he did was bad, and it was also pretty extensive. It involved a lot of people.
There are enough House Republicans who say they want to bring legislation to the floor that would compel the Trump administration to release more than just grand jury testimony. Some lawmakers, like Republican Congressman Tim Burchett, believes it's a moral issue.
Ultimately, I don't answer to the president or the voters. I'm going to answer to my maker.
Despite these calls from Democrats and members of his own party, House Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters Monday there will be no votes on anything further related to the Jeffrey Epstein files in the House before they break for their 6-week summer recess on Friday.
My belief is we need the administration to have the space to do what it is doing. And if further congressional action is necessary or appropriate, then we'll look at that. But I don't think we're at that point right now because we agree with the president.
So no vote on this resolution?
No.
Republican Congressman Warren Davidson tells CNN he wants the Attorney General to testify before a hearing on the matter.
I really would like the committee of jurisdiction to bring her in and say, hey, you start this off, you've got binders. Please explain. We are led to believe there are going to be some prosecutions. If we're going to prosecute, we assume there's going to be convictions. And I think that's really the disconnect.
President Trump has blamed Democrats for stoking the Epstein story and has said the so-called Epstein files were made up by former Presidents Obama and Biden and former FBI Director James Comey. But House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says blaming Democrats for any of this is ludicrous.
Why do we think President Joe Biden or President Barack Obama's names are being invoked? Because Donald Trump is running scared, and the Trump administration is running scared. What are they hiding from the American people?
John Stolnis, Washington.
A CBS News poll finds a majority of Americans want all files related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation released. Monday, the White House press secretary was asked why the president doesn't order the Justice Department and FBI to release all of them. Meanwhile, President Trump has filed a lawsuit over a Wall Street Journal report about him and Epstein. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
The president has essentially told the attorney general, of course, you can seek the release of everything that was given to the grand jury back in the day. And so the Justice Department's working on that. Questions were asked here about whether he wants everything released. And the White House said, look, the president has told the Justice Department and the FBI, if they believe that everything needs to be released, then they can seek the release of it all. But punted that down the street to the Justice Department and the FBI, which is notable.
Texas state Democrats say they're willing to walk out of the Texas special session to stop President Trump's call for the state to redraw congressional maps. Trump is hoping to flip as many as 5 seats to Republicans in time for the midterm elections. Here's KRLD's Chris Fox in Austin.
Democrats are going to keep all options open.
And according to Texas Democratic Caucus Chair State Rep Jean Wu, that means walking out on Governor Abbott's special session to at least temporarily prevent Texas Republicans from taking up redistricting, even if that means walking out on flood relief legislation as well.
This is a president of the United States who does not give a what's in the Constitution, and a political leadership that is unwilling to say no.
Texas Republicans are also threatening to arrest those Democrats who walk out. Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
It's 7:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hi, St. Louis. This is EJ Turner, one of the 6 certified arborists with Timberline Professional Tree Care. Spring and summer in the St. Louis area can mean severe weather and storm cleanup for homeowners. Fallen branches or entire trees are not only unsightly, but they can be extremely dangerous. Each year, hundreds, if not thousands of homeowners are injured or even killed while trying to trim, remove, or clean up trees that have fallen. These injuries are often the result of falls from ladders or roofs, cuts from the chainsaws, or the tree itself striking the homeowner. We've all seen the YouTube videos. Don't let yourself or loved one become the next victim. At Timberline, we all have the knowledge and equipment to safely and efficiently remove that tree or tree branch from your home, structure, or yard. Go ahead and save our 24-hour number to your phone. It's 636-479-7475. Again, 636-479-7475, or visit our website at stltreecare.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res and purchase 3 rooms of carpet cleaned. Get 1 free room plus $50 off your air duct services. You can book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings. So they were just out at my house about a month ago, and they've been out half a dozen times over the years. But I'm always impressed. They are punctual. They are professional. They are compassionate. They are courteous. They work their tails off, and they just flat out get your carpets, your upholstery, your air ducts as clean as the day they brought them in. It's St. Louis. It's the dog days of summer. Those carpets are going to be getting gamey. Maybe you dropped some toasted ravioli in there, some barbecue, whatever it is you put into them, we can get that back out. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. It's always the same, Zero Res.
It is 7:30 and we've got some sunshine and a few clouds. It's currently 76 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. How are we doing traffic-wise? Roger Brand will let us know from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, so far so good. It hasn't been a bad morning, Tom. It's a little busy here and there, but not terrible. If you're on northbound Highway 270, you're starting to see slower traffic now. Approaching Tesson Ferry through Gravois, Big Bend up through Doherty Ferry, 64 to Ladue, South 270 Page down to Ladue. That's a slower pace. Eastbound 64 a little busy, coming off 70 through Prospect, but it opens up before you get to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound 70 still looks great coming out of St. Charles County. Eastbound 64 at the Interbelt, 170 to about Big Bend's a little slow. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker through Bellevue, and then the right lanes around Hanley bogged down a bit. Back to seeing a little volume northbound 55 between Bayless and River de Pere downtown. Westbound 64 from the 70 split to 3rd Street. Westbound 5570 west of 111 midway into 203 a little busy, and a little further to the east westbound 70 about a mile slowdown approaching 270 and 55 over there at the detour. Southbound 55 jams midway between 143 and 270. Westbound 270 is slowing approaching 157 to 255. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast from Joe Lundberg, hot and humid. What you could expect for this time of year in St. Louis. An extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday. AccuWeather real field temperatures around 105 this afternoon, 110 tomorrow and Thursday. NFL training camps are opening. I remember the days of Macomb, Illinois this time of year with the St. Louis Rams and that extreme heat just pounding down on those players. It's going to be hot. High 92 today, low 78 tonight. 98 tomorrow, 100 for the high on Thursday. Currently, we have some sun poking through the clouds and 77 downtown at the Arch.
Deciding whether to shut down more than half of the city's public schools.
The city has 68 schools left. This plan would shut down 37 of them. Last year, the board hired Cordigan, Clark & Associates to complete a demographic survey. That survey estimates that the number of students in the district will go down by 30% in a decade. Fewer births and more people moving out. The study also said the average age of a school building in the city is 79 years, and only 52% of each building is really even being used. The district today is already facing the closure of 7 schools because of the tornado in May, which could affect 2,000 students. Beth Coughlin, KMOX News.
That survey will be discussed at the board meeting tonight.
I'm Sean Malone. The proposal to eliminate over half of SLPS schools is not viewed favorably by their teachers union. President of the American Federation of Teachers, Local 420, Ray Cummings, tells KMOX the district should explore other options before resorting to consolidation.
We need to look at some of these other options like reconfiguration and coming up with a much better way to serve our community.
Cummings says the consolidation will mean layoffs for teachers and staff. A spokesperson for St. Louis Public Schools declined to comment ahead of tonight's meeting.
Southwest Airlines, St. Louis's biggest carrier, announces how its big changes will be rolled out. Here's Michael Calhoun.
This is the final approach for those who have been watching Southwest Airlines and waiting for really details on these changes. First of all, when it comes to assigned seats, January 27th, 2026 are those first flights that will have no open seating. You'll have to look at your ticket to find out exactly where you're supposed to be sitting. There's also a new boarding process that will group passengers based on their seat location. And if people choose to purchase a seat with extra leg room or they're a loyalty member, they will also get to get on first. That means those pillars with the numbers based on when you checked in are going away.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It is 7:34.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
It's 7:35. Your money report is sponsored by Busey Bank.
Good morning. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said there should be a review of the decision to renovate parts of the Federal Reserve headquarters in Washington. In a post on X, Bessent said the decision to undertake such a project by an institution reporting operating losses of more than $1 billion per year should be conducted. The Fed and its leader, Powell, have faced relentless criticism from the Trump administration for weeks, mostly over decisions to hold interest rates steady so far in 2025. An orange juice distributor is going to court over the Trump administration's plan to impose a 50% tariff on Brazil starting next month. Johanna Foods estimates the tariffs would increase its costs for not-from-concentrate orange juice from Brazil by $68 million over the next 12 months and could hike retail orange juice prices by as much as 25%. Sales tax holidays are nice for consumers, but they are costly to the states that have them. The Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy says 18 states will have sales tax holidays this year, and their revenues will be reduced by a collective $1.3 billion. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
The doctor's wrong following my accident. I got back to baseball, started kicking field goals, and finally got paid as a pro kicker and ultimately became a leader in the marketing world. That's why I trust Renner Garage Door, exceeding expectations for over 65 years. They service, sell, and install top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Get your free quote today. Check them out at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
You should know by now that the oldest and most respected name in home building is McKelvey Homes. Founded in 1898, Missouri's oldest and most respected name. Long-standing tradition, McKelvey Homes. Quality craftsmanship, exceptional value. Committed to the highest standards of excellence. Whether you choose one of their thoughtfully designed communities or you prefer a custom home on your own lot, McKelvey builds in the most sought-after locations, places where families truly want to live. They scan the entire St. Louis area, and they have homes throughout the St. Louis area, St. Charles County, St. Louis County. They offer innovative home designs to suit every lifestyle, and McKelvey provides personalized service as well to guide you through every step of the process. You can start by going to McKelveyhomes.com. You can learn about them. They have some great deals, just great deals for all folks here in St. Louis. Different price points, beautiful homes. Check them out at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Hey guys, Dave and Rach here for our good friends at Smart Mouth. So it is unique by the very definition of the word. It's the only mouth rinse out there with 2 chemicals that combine to prevent bad breath for 24 hours a day with just 2 rinses a day.
Never have bad breath again. You can find Smart Mouth locally at Schnucks and Deerbergs or at Walgreens, Walmart, and Amazon. Visit smartmouth.com to snag a special discount on your next Smart Mouth purchase. That's smartmouth.com/Glover.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club. Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules. Tonight, the Cards, the Rockies, Cameron Total Access 645, Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:40. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, hitting our peak of the rush hour, so lots of slow going, but it's not terrible right now. This traffic reports a service of Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical. If you're on northbound 270, there's a slowdown with the merge zone with 55 traffic approaching Gravway up to 44. Big Bend up toward Manchester, and then just approaching 64 to Ladue. Slow. South 270, let's call it just about Dorset down to Ladue. Just busy the whole way down. Southbound 61, finally see a little volume there, but it's south of Wensville Parkway into 64 through Prospect, opening up before you get to the boulevard. There is slow traffic, though, approaching Highway K through 94 to Research Park. It's a little busy at 141, and there's slow stuff right at 170 through the Hanley Big Bend area. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley's heavy. South 170, a little busy both sides of Olive, then it's just slow from the Parkway down to 64. If you're northbound on 55, still looks good down around Festus. Bayless up to River de Pere, the usual heavy stuff there. Downtown westbound 64, Baugh to the 70 split is crowded, but after that it looks good across both the bridges. And further east, westbound 70 delays, or at least slow going almost midway from Route 4 to 270. Southbound 55 jams midway between 143 and 270. And westbound 270, a little back up at 159 and then approaching 255. It's slow. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, and Electrical.
And electrical.
JerryKelly.com.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It's summer in St. Louis, after all. Heat and humidity upon us.
Yeah, we've not had an awful lot of 90-degree days up to this point in time, but we're going to put together a string of them starting today and lasting who knows how long, but certainly into the weekend, that's for sure. We've got an extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday, and don't be surprised if that gets extended or at least adjusted to a heat advisory for Friday and Saturday because the heat's not going away. 92 with sun and some clouds today, and at best a stray thunderstorm. Most of us stay dry. Tonight, partly cloudy and just uncomfortable. Low just 78. Up to 98 with more sunshine tomorrow, feeling like it's closer to 110. That kind of heat and humidity continues Thursday with sun and some clouds and a slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. Friday, partly sunny, still pretty hot and humid, but I think there's a little better opportunity for afternoon thunderstorms to high 95. And as we go to the weekend, clouds and sun Saturday, low to mid 90s with a good chance for a thunderstorm. 77 currently in St. Peter, 78 in Florissant, partly sunny, 79 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:42 and the news continues.
So live and let die.
Why are tickets for Paul McCartney's tour even more expensive than Taylor Swift's were? Even basic seats for his show in Pittsburgh are going for several $1,000s, with prime tickets selling for more than $6,000. Tickets in Vegas, New Orleans, and Chicago are even more expensive. Experts blame more elaborate staging, which isn't cheap. And it's not cheap either to truck all of that stuff around. Then there are the extra fees before you even get to Sir Paul's cut, and he isn't playing for free. McCartney plays 2 nights Thanksgiving week in Chicago.
Well, so much for Amazon promising to keep prices the same despite all those tariffs. Looks like they've now quietly raised prices on everything from kitchen gadgets to soup, according to research by the Wall Street Journal. All of that is now between 20 and 40% more expensive, which is right in line with tariffs. Cough and cold medicine, detergent, canned food took the biggest hit.
Elon Musk has opened a Tesla diner in Los Angeles.
It looks like something out of the Jetsons, but with more style, in a parking lot full of Tesla fourth-generation superchargers, with sedans and Cybertrucks getting their fill of juice. Kevin was one of the lucky ones who got a copy of the menu in advance, and while a lot of it was burgers and a pizza and even a salad, as befitting a 24/7 restaurant, there was a lot more food available.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, it's very American fare. Classic or spicy pickled brined organic free-range chicken between two buttermilk waffles with maple black pepper mayo. You could add new school cheese sauce, bacon, organic free-range fried egg, or a potato roll. Sub Martin's potato roll.
Now the only question is, what'll get done faster, you getting your food or your car getting a full charge? I'm betting on the car charge. In Hollywood, I'm Pete Demetrio.
Results from the largest trial of 4-day work weeks were published yesterday, showing that a shortened schedule without pay cuts boosts job satisfaction and reduces burnout. Nearly 2,900 workers from 141 organizations in 6 countries shifted to 32-hour weeks for 6 months. Employees reported improved performance, better sleep, less fatigue. Over 90% of participating companies kept the truncated schedule, suggesting output and profit were not harmed. Scientists at Boston College led that study at 7:45. Ins and Outs, sponsored by Innsbruck, where every day is the weekend. Let's talk some Cardinal baseball. The Cardinals won a ball game last night, taking on the Colorado Rockies, and this is how it sounded through the eyes of Ricky Horton and Mike Claiborne.
Pitch, a curveball swung on and missed, and he struck him out. That was the sweeper, and that is strikeout number 1.
We'll take it.
For Michael McGreevy.
It was the only strikeout for Michael McGreevy last night, but his pitch to contact work to McGreevy was very good last night. He ended up going 7 innings, and Matt Pauley has the very latest on the Cardinals' top pitching prospect and what's to come.
Michael McGreevy continues to make the most out of his big league opportunities. Called up from AAA to make a start in Colorado, he goes 7 innings, allowing just 2 runs in a tough place to pitch, helping the Cardinals to a 6-2 win over the Rockies. Manager Oliver Marmol loves what he saw.
Just his demeanor. A couple of those balls get through on the ground, and he doesn't make much of it. He makes the next pitch and figures out a way to limit damage. Did a really nice job of mixing everything, kept them off balance, was on the ground a ton. Just another impressive outing, especially to do it here. Ball flies and you can run up the score pretty quickly. So overall, really, really nice job.
At one point, McGreevy retires 11 batters in a row. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Will McGreevy get another start? We'll talk to Ali about that today. The Gas House Gang airs on KMOX. It also streams live on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Starts at 12:05 with the manager, and he stays with us for the first half of the show. Bernie Miklas, Chris Ranji join me for the Gas House Gang every day at noon, and Tuesdays with Ollie Marmol right here on KMOX. I recently had a chance to visit with college football analyst Kirk Herbstreit, co-host of College Game Day, and discussed, among other things, and there's a docu-series that he has going right now about athletes and their dogs called Fueled By. Purina Pro Plan has that one on YouTube. But you know Game Day if you are a college football fan, and you know Lee Corso and the relationship that Kirk has with Lee. The coach is calling it a career on the television side, and what a run it has been.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he turns 90 August 7th, decided to step away. He's had an amazing run. I think it was 38 or 39 years on College Game Day and working at ESPN. He's doing one more show. The first show of the year, August 30th, which will be Texas at Ohio State. It's the location of his first headgear that he ever wore, Brutus the Buckeye, and it'll be his last. And so we're going to honor him. We're going to we did a nice tribute to him at the ESPYs a few weeks ago, and we'll definitely celebrate his career one more time on that first College Game Day in Columbus. And he's like another second father to me. So he will be missed, But in the meantime, we're going to celebrate him one last time.
Very special relationship between Kirk Herbstreit and Lee Corso. Thanks to Herbie for joining us on KMOX. Maybe College Game Day will come to Illinois or Mizzou this year. I'm Tom Ackerman, Innsbruck. I don't know if College Game Day will ever be out there, but they should vacation there. It's a great spot, I'll tell you that. College Game Day is a great show, and I've watched it out at Innsbruck. We went to Mizzou, Oklahoma last fall and stayed at Innsbruck. What a great idea that turned out to be. It was halfway to Columbia. So if you want to book for the fall, that's a great place to go. But we're still in the summer, and we will be spending a little time at Innsbruck during the summer. There's so much to do at Innsbruck. Even on a hot day like today, a dip in a nice cold lake, jumping in that lake water, or heading out to play golf and then cooling off in the pool, which they have a great pool there at Innsbruck. They have two of them now, actually. The pool, the big one, has a concert venue right outside. So on Saturday nights, they have outstanding concerts. But if you want just nice peace and quiet, the homes at Innsbruck, I'm telling you, that is vacation living right here in St. Louis, too. It's only an hour from downtown St. Louis. Innsbruck, located right off I-70, the Wright City exit, innsbruck-resort.com.
My name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Experience the magic of the Fabulous Foxes 2025-2026 Broadway season, which includes the return of St. Louis favorite, The Phantom of the Opera, and the spellbinding spectacular Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And right now, KMOX has your chance to win a pair of season tickets for the 2025-2026 season. Prize package includes a pair of tickets for all 8 shows in the subscription package. Register now online at KMOX.com/contests for your chance to win.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's get you an update on traffic and weather together. It is 7:51. I'm Debbie Monterrey. That's Tom Ackerman. Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, a couple of minutes ago, they were reporting a possible car fire northbound 170 north of Page. I don't see anything there. South 170 Page down through the old Bonham overpass is kind of slowing again from the Parkway to 64. But again, I don't see any restrictions there either. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, it's a little busy. TR Houston 79, a little slow. Past 270, South 270, Dorset, down through Olive, and then there's just a little pocket approaching Ladue after that. North 270, let's call it Tess on Ferry to Ladue, pretty busy the whole way up the line there. Eastbound 30, West Watson to 270, slow. Northbound 55, Bayless, north of Bayless up to Weber, kind of busy there. Westbound 64, Science Center to Big Bend is slow. And on the Illinois side, we still have these delays. Southbound 55, jam midway down from 143 to 270. Westbound 70 approaching 270 is backed up in pockets, and the 270s on the brakes all the way into 159. It looks like we have an incident just west of there, but after that, it's a good run all the way over to the 255 detour mark. Westbound 70 past the Mutual Veterans is a little heavy downtown as well. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather's hot, Roger. It's going to be for a while. Extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday, but it'll be hot Friday, Saturday as well. Here's the breakdown. Today, times of sun and clouds, hot and humid, a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots, says Joe Lundberg, high 92. Warm and humid tonight, low 78. Tomorrow, sunny, hot and humid, high 98. Thursday, check on the elderly and others because this is big time stuff. Hot and humid, high near 100 Thursday. Friday, Saturday, highs in the mid 90s. Right now, we're getting close to 80 already before 8 o'clock. It's 78 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:53. A federal judge has sentenced a former Kentucky police officer to nearly 3 years in prison for using excessive force during the 2020 deadly Breonna Taylor raid, declining a U.S. Justice Department recommendation that no prison time be given. Brett Hankison, who fired 10 shots during the raid but didn't hit anyone, was the only officer on the scene charged in the woman's death. We get more from CBS's Nicole Valdez.
Prosecutors say Hankison violated the department's use of force policy when he blindly fired 10 shots into her home without a clear target. Last week, the Department of Justice recommended the judge sentence Hankison to serve just 1 day in prison. Hankison is the only officer who's been convicted for firing his weapon during the botched no-knock raid.
It is 7:54, and what little information has been shared of the detainee who died at the city jail over the weekend isn't enough for the family.
The Justice Center really needs to release those tapes. We need to see those tapes. There are video cameras all throughout this whole building. Where is the evidence? Where something is going on with my son up there?
That's Anita Washington, the mother of the victim, Samuel Hayes Jr. Their attorney, Jack Waldron, says they want the family to see the video of Samuel in the restraining chair, adding that one should exist.
Within the jail, there are lots of video cameras and videotapes, but specific to the use of a restraint chair, the city has policies that say that that person should be very closely monitored and should be videotaped.
He says as of early Monday evening, the medical examiner's office was also awaiting that footage. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A new report called Reimagining St. Louis Public Schools recommends a significant cutback, eliminating over 36 schools and leaving 31 remaining. The cuts are recommended due to the city's shrinking population, with an exodus of SLPS students projected to be accelerated by May's tornado. A majority of the cuts would be to elementary schools and a few middle schools. The report will be presented at tonight's Board of Education meeting.
Oh, beautiful for space.
From the KMOX archives, 132 years ago today, Professor Catherine Lee Bates visited the summit of Pikes Peak, where she was inspired to write America the Beautiful, the poem, which was later adapted to music. Beyonce sang it during the inaugural concert for President Obama in 2008. Catherine Lee Bates' original opening line to the first stanza said, "Oh, beautiful for halcyon skies." Experts say the phrase halcyon skies is a metaphorical expression that emphasizes the peaceful nature of the skies, contributing to the song's overall theme of national beauty.
How about that? 7:56 on KMOX's Total Information AM. Back to Roger Brand in 2 minutes.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
In sports, it's the dream team. And if your car is out of warranty, there's a team for that as well. You, the driver, your mechanic, and Endurance to pay for the repair bills. I'm Danica Patrick. In the past 5 years, auto repair costs have gone up over 36%. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all. With an Endurance auto protection plan, no matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done by the certified mechanic of your choice. Plans cover 24/7 towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, and lockout services. Act now and get
(291-0342). It's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. Selling your home, every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Let's check in with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, just a moment ago, Debbie, I heard a call out for EMS crews to respond to they said a rescue crash eastbound 370 at Earth City. I can't see it yet. I don't see any delays either. Yeah, eastbound Highway 70, there you've got slow traffic from the Blanchette Bridge into the Rock Road. South 270, Dorset down to Page is slow to Olive. And then after Olive, it's opening up. North 270, you're still bogged down. Tesson Ferry through Gravois. A couple of spots north of 44, but primarily Doherty Ferry to Ladue, the busiest stretch. North 170 near Page, we had a report of a vehicle fire. It's a little heavy there. Southbound 170 from Page, Pockets down to 64, still busy. Eastbound 64, McKnight to Big Bend's heavy. Westbound 64, the Science Center to Big Bend is slow. Southbound 55 still jammed midway from 143 down to 270. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
78 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news.
I'm Sean Malone. Over the weekend, a man died at the City Justice Center. Coming up, hear the latest from the police department and the victim's family.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. An 18-year-old died last year in a foster home. We ask why DCFS still hasn't released a full report.
The federal government is rounding up wild Mustangs. A St. Louis filmmaker will tell us about efforts to keep the horses free.
It's not time for hayrides and haunted houses yet, but many people are already shopping for Halloween. It's called Summerween. And you'll hear from a St. Louis man who makes all the ghastly things people love.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A mix of sun and clouds today with a stray thunderstorm and a high of 92.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Midsummer is showing its true colors in a big way. Heat alerts are up across about 2/3 of the country, with feels-like temperatures in some places about to hit 110 degrees. CBS meteorologist David Parkinson.
We've got this heat that is locked in place. Essentially, the jet stream has gone way to the north. It has allowed moisture from the Gulf to come in, which is bringing the humidity, and it's also allowing hot air to come up from the south as well. Those two together, the heat and humidity, gives you the dangerous heat index we will see today and really through the end of the week.
And it's not just here.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. After the hottest June since records began, much of Europe's in the grips of a blistering July. Greece is one of the tourist destinations under a heat alert this week.
We are staying inside during the middle of the day.
Lots of water, lots of ice cream and sunscreen.
Temperatures above 110 degrees. The heat waves have hit Europe earlier this summer and harder.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is expected to begin speaking soon at a banking conference in Washington, D.C. One top Trump administration official is softening his stance after President Trump's call for the head of the Fed to resign. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tells Fox Business.
There's nothing that tells me that he should step down right now. He's been a good public servant.
The president's frustrated over the Fed's refusal to lower interest rates. The head of the UN's cultural agency says she regrets the U.S. decision to withdraw from UNESCO, though she says she's not surprised. CBS's Michael Wallace.
Trump made the same move during his first term, but the Biden administration had the U.S. rejoin the agency in 2023. The White House says Trump believes UNESCO has an anti-Israel bias and supports woke, divisive cultural and social causes that are out of step with the common sense policies Americans voted for in November.
Sitcom fans and fellow actors mourning the loss of The Cosby Show's Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Dad, I thought about what you said, and I see your point.
Thank you. Thank you. Warner, who played Bill Cosby's son Theo on the show, drowned when he was swept away in a rip current while he was vacationing in Costa Rica. Cosby tells CBS's Jerika Duncan he's spoken with Felicia Rashad, who played his TV wife.
We were embracing each other over the phone about a dearly beloved friend.
The Costa Rican Red Cross says a second person who was in the water at the same resort in Limon is in critical condition. Malcolm Jamal Warner was 54 years old. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch. A new report recommending significant cuts to St. Louis public schools will be presented at tonight's school board meeting. The more than 1,500-page report lays out plans to eliminate more than 36 schools, mainly elementary schools and a few middle schools.
First of all, I think it's just total tone deaf.
That's Ray Cummings, president of the American Federation of Teachers Local 420, which represents SLPS teachers. He believes the timing of the proposal is poor.
Creating this uncertainty the way they are, I can't understand anything other than they're doing something right now that's just good for charter schools.
Cummings says consolidation and downsizing, like in the proposal being heard tonight, leads to layoffs. The school district declined to comment ahead of the meeting. The family of the deceased detainee of the City Justice Center is demanding more information from the city.
Has anyone in the family heard from the jail staff? Anyone in the City Justice Center?
No. Besides an initial phone call notifying them of the passing of Samuel, there's been nothing. There's been no follow-up.
As of early Friday evening, the family of the deceased, Samuel Hayes Jr., say they have not heard any further information from the city jail about their son's death. They're asking for the video of their son in the restraining chair to be released to them. Their attorney, Jack Waldron, says they are not the only ones waiting for this tape.
We've also spoken with the medical examiner who conducted an initial autopsy today. They've also said that they are waiting for the video, too.
Waldron says city law requires detainees secured in the restraining chair be closely monitored and videotaped. Therefore, a tape must exist. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX contacted a spokesperson for the city police department who says the tapes will be released to the family in the near future, as they typically do with investigations. We've got more information on the investigation into what's dubbed an embattled St. Louis County community. We told you last week about State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick starting to look into the situation in Pine Lawn. Now he's talking with KMOX about it.
Listen, I think there's some transparency issues. There have been meetings canceled abruptly. They've had issues with passing their budget.
Taxpayers, he says, aren't thrilled with how the city's been managed. Pine Lawn's mayor previously told KMOX he expects the town to fully cooperate with the inquiry, and Fitzpatrick says record requests are going smoothly. St. Louis County has upgraded its emergency siren system, automating it by linking activation to the National Weather Service warnings. The new system also divides the sirens into 3 zones, splitting them into North, Central, and South County. Emergency Management Director Michelle Ryan says they used major roadways to divide the county.
We used major boundaries, Page Avenue and Manchester Road.
Ryan says the goal is to make the siren activation more targeted. So if a warning is issued for North County, South County residents don't hear the alarm go off. How does mapping technology help make elections more efficient? St. Louis County Republican Director of Elections, Rick Stream, can tell you St. Louis County was just awarded the Special Achievement in GIS Award by big tech company Esri. Stream tells KMOX.
We always look around to see what other people are doing and to see if we can, as Eric likes to say, my Democrat counterpart, we follow the case method, which is copy and steal everything. So if somebody's doing something better, we look at it and see if we can incorporate it here in St. Louis. And by the same token, people are looking at what we're doing here, too.
Stream says mapping technology helps voters know how long the lines are and look up their ballots ahead of time. It's also helped the elections department become more efficient, saving taxpayer money. A merger between Cornerstone Health of Nashville and Brightly of Springfield, Missouri, expected to create the largest nonprofit mental health provider and expand access to mental health and substance abuse care. The two organizations have a St. Louis presence through Places for People. The combined providers would reportedly serve 250,000 people a year with annual revenue exceeding $1 billion. There's a new auto supplier in Normal, Illinois, up Interstate 55. That's where electric vehicle maker Rivian has a big plant already. Adient, which makes seats for cars, investing more than $8 million to produce them for Rivian. The move brings 75 new jobs to Normal. It's also about boosting efficiency for Rivian as it prepares to increase its own production. We're going to get a check of traffic and weather coming up in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest?
Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
The reason many of us hate insurance companies is because some of them act like bullies. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been dealing with these creatures my whole career. Whether it's a workers' comp claim, an auto accident, or a nursing home or medical mishap, the playbook is often the same: deny and delay. We became the largest injury firm in America for a reason. We fight the bullies. They know who we are, and I know it makes a difference for our clients. Just go to forthepeople.com and see our results and our verdicts after those bullies gave us their final offer. Hiring the wrong firm can be disastrous. Hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. It's easy to get going. Visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer, or call us on your cell at pound law, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merit.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 8:10. You're listening to Total Information AM, and I'm just going to give you a little teaser here. If you do not watch us on Facebook and YouTube, you might want to pop us on. We have a special guest in studio, a little bit ghastly guest, but you're going to find out why in just a moment. Let's get a check of the roads first with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, I mentioned a rescue crash on eastbound 370 at 141. They sent emergency crews. Turns out it's on 141 northbound on the north side of the 370 overpass. It's an overturned dump truck. So restrictions there as you're getting off westbound 370, but it's not impacting folks on 370 right now. So that's great news. Eastbound 70 from 141 into the Rock Road, that's still kind of slow. South 270, a little slow down past 364 down to Ladue at a couple of spots. North 270, call it 44 up to Ladue, the busiest part. South 170 still bogged down. Page down through Olive. We had an earlier vehicle fire, a little busy. Brentwood is 64. Eastbound 64, still heavy. Midway in from Lindbergh through the Interbelt area. Westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley's heavy. North 55, Weber River to Pear, just kind of busy. Southbound 55, still a jam. South of 143 down to 270. Westbound 70 approaching 270. Heavy pockets on past 159, but then it opens up and it's okay from that point all the way to 255. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The extreme heat warning remains in effect through Thursday. We'll see AccuWeather real field temperatures over 105 today and up to 110 tomorrow and Thursday. A mix of sun and clouds today, hot and humid with a stray afternoon thunderstorm, high 92. Tonight, partly cloudy, very warm and humid, low 78. More sunshine tomorrow, very hot and humid, high 98. Thursday, sun and some clouds, very hot and humid, a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, the high close to 100. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, we're already starting out hot this morning and sunny. 79 degrees in Florissant, 78 in St. Peter's, and 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. You may have noticed that Halloween decorations are out pretty early in stores this year. It's being called Summerween. How did the holiday creep earlier and earlier? In studio with me this morning is Patrick Voss. His company is VFX Creates, responsible for all the creepy, gory, scary things that you see and that make you jump and scream in haunted houses. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you, Megan. It's great to be here.
Well, and for people watching on Facebook and YouTube, they can see that you've brought a friend. Who is this that you have attached to you?
This is Mumrot. He's one of our premium mummies. He's got all the nice features. He's got its spine open in his back, and he also has a sound system. I don't know if you can hear that.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
But he's just one of our, I know we've got over 30 or more puppets that we create for haunted attractions and theme parks and people all over the world.
I'm curious, when did you start to see such a swell in interest in Halloween and all the things that go with it?
I've been in the haunt industry for, golly, since the 80s. And it just seems like every year it gets bigger and there's something else going on. And I've been around long enough to see some of these little shows just every year it grow bigger and bigger. Like there's one of my favorites out in California, Midsummer Scream, which is now this huge show with, I mean, it's open to the public and everybody goes there. It's an amazing show and it's all Halloween. It's so fun.
When we talk about this industry, how far ahead do these haunted attractions start planning with you to create these custom items for their sets?
Sometimes we'll get contacted a year before they're going to open, or if they have a special request or something like that, or they'll order and just to get it in time, because there's a demand for all this with the haunted attractions. They're always looking for something new and scary that's going to get people's attention, and they're going to talk about and bring more people to the haunt. So I will say our first show that we do every year is located right here in St. Louis. It's the Transworld Halloween and Attraction Show. And we've been doing that show for 13 years, I think, something like that, 13, 14 years. And it's a trade show, but it's the biggest haunt-related show in the world that I know of.
Wow. So, when we talk about a prop like this, the puppet that you have with you today, for a haunted attraction, like what would the sticker price be for something like this?
This guy is around $2,000, and he does come with like, I got a safari shirt on with there's a harness built in, and the puppets have snaps in their hands, and they snap to the front and back. The legs wrap around, so you get a puppet, you get a sound system that's already pre-recorded sound, and the illusion that you see all of me with a fake fist.
So when we think of a haunted house, for example, and all the props, I mean, these are significant investments
Yeah.
that these companies are making in these facilities.
Yeah, they put a lot of money into them. And what surprises me is over the last few years, more and more I'm seeing home haunters at the shows and buying our products, which is not cheap. And these are high-end products for, our main market is haunted attractions and theme parks, like I said. And you've got people that just love them and they love Halloween. And the home haunters, they go from, the people that put all the stuff in their yard, and there's people that go to just a more extent and build mazes in their yard just to have fun. And it's just, every year more and more people look forward to that stuff too.
What are some of your most popular items?
Right now we have a new vampire bride puppet called Alira, and she's pretty huge. And we've got this awesome giant vampire bat, Desmodus, the vampire bat puppet, which we came out last year. We won an award at a show for best new prop, and is just, those are probably two of our main ones. And then we've got Molly Zombie, which our social media influencer, Jose Castro, is out in Florida, but he goes by Molly Z on social media, and he's everywhere on social media. He's made Molly like probably our number one puppet in sales for the last couple of years.
What's the fun in it for you? I mean, how does it not get old doing this year after year?
It's fun to see people at the shows and get to show them the new products. That's fun. It's fun when I have, like I just got an email from a customer the other day that just got his puppet, and he was just blown away by it. And that just, stuff like that really makes it just fun. And just, I got a really good team of people. Doug Schaefer is my lead artist, and he is actually just a nut when it comes to coming up with awesome products, unique products. He's developed several of our most innovative products that we have, and stuff that we are known for in the industry.
Do you decorate your own house for Halloween?
A little. I'm usually about burned out by the time
Halloween.
Yeah, but we still have fun.
Do you go to haunted houses?
I like to, and probably my favorite one I've been to is down in Atlanta. It's the Netherworld haunted attraction. It's amazing, and so far that's probably the most amazing one I've been to.
What do you think of the ones that make you sign big disclaimers because they're going to drop roaches on your face and things like that?
I guess it depends on where they draw that line, because I know there's some out there that are like full contact haunted attractions, and they will grab you, but that going in, so it's your choice. And which people have different scare levels. Some people who you never think is going to get scared is usually the first one that gets scared and punches somebody. That's their reaction. I'm sure haunt actors understand out there, right?
Exactly. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We know it's going to feel like it's 105 today, but people are already dreaming about Halloween. So thank you for your creations.
Cool. Thank you.
That is Patrick Voss. He is with VFX Creates. And if you're one of those home haunters, you can check him out and see if this is something you want to add to your yard this season. Well, coming up next on Total Information AM, we talked about the heat. St. Louis is among some of the worst areas in the country for heat this week. CBS News meteorologist Nikki Nolan will join me next. First, though, let's get a check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This traffic reports a service at Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. Megan, northbound 270, we're still slow from pretty much north of 44 all the way up to Ladue. South 270 Page to Ladue, that's still busy. Eastbound 64 a little slow, 94 Research Park area. And it's heavy from east of Lindbergh all the way into about Big Bend. South 170, still a little bit of a backup both sides of Olive, and then just heavy Brentwood is 64. Eastbound 70, 270 into the Rock Road, that's slow. Northbound 55 Weber to River to Pear, a little busy. Still working this rescue crash, the overturned dump truck. It's on northbound 141, just north of 370, so restrictions there, getting around it, a little bit of a delay. And if you're on the Illinois side, restrictions because of the closure of westbound 5570 at 159. Southbound 55's jammed, but pretty much 143 down to 270. Westbound 270 is bogged down from 55 all the way through 159. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
You want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Life is change, an election, an illness, a death, and questions. What about my family, my retirement, my estate? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano stand ready to help you plan for your life changes and protect what matters to you. They have listened, planned, and executed thousands of estate plans, taxes, and legal documents for over 30 years, right here in St. Louis. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano make it easy to get started. Go to their website, yourestatematters.com, and request their free webinar. It focuses on simple legal strategies and their process. Then schedule your free personal consultation. Life is change. Plan now. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestatematters.com. Choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. We remain under a dangerous heat dome in the St. Louis region. Let's get a broader look now with CBS News meteorologist Nikki Nolan. Nikki, thanks for your time this morning.
Absolutely, no problem.
How much of the U.S. is dealing with this oppressive heat right now?
So it looks like it's over 69 million that are actually under actual heat alerts. That's either heat advisories, extreme heat warnings, or even extreme heat watches, which means that basically this heat dome is impacting almost up to 100 million just from the central region all the way down into the southeastern U.S. And that's basically just because we don't have anything that's cooling us off. No showers or storms. There might be a light one that might move through, but it's not enough to actually cool us down. So we're talking upwards of 100 to 110 degrees in some areas.
It looks like St. Louis and even Little Rock are some of the worst areas right now.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, it's looking like 100 degrees to upwards of even 110 to 115 degrees. And that's the heat index values, or what the temperature actually feels like given the humidity in the area.
It seems too like it is not cooling off at night. Is that exacerbating things?
Absolutely. So because it's so hot during the day, and even in the summer months, we have longer hours in the day. So basically, we just don't have enough time to cool off overnight. So even though the sun may go down later and come up earlier, we're just not having enough time for the sun not touching the surface, which means that it's allowing us to stay warm during the day and even overnight.
You mentioned humidity. We are in the Corn Belt. I remember last year a lot of talk about corn sweat. Is that what we're dealing with?
So the Corn Belt is just the area of where all the corn crops are, and corn is known to perspirate just like us humans do. But because it sweats, basically, it rises up and evaporates into the air and creates additional humidity. So that's actually increasing our heat index values, which is also increasing that upwards of 100 to 115 degrees. Along the central part of the Corn Belt. So so corn sweat is a thing, and it's actually increasing the humidity in the area.
Nikki, I think a lot of people really want to know when our forecasters expecting that we will feel some relief.
So it's looking like closer to the weekend. So the heat alerts are actually tapering off, just depending on where you are. But it's looking like Friday, Saturday that we're getting below that extreme heat status. But unfortunately, it looks like next week we have another heat wave coming. So it's looking like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week that we'll be dealing with this again. So these are definitely the dog days of summer.
CBS News meteorologist Nikki Nolan, thank you so much.
No problem at all.
Coming up on Total Information AM, there's been a pretty big hack of a Microsoft system. We're going to tell you what it is and why you need to be concerned. CBS Tech contributor Ian Scher joins me at the bottom of the hour. Right now, it's 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Hey, it's Matt, your Leaf Filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
8:30, time for another check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, it looks like they have the northbound lanes of 141 shut down just immediately north of 370 because of that overturned dump truck. Emergency crews on the scene, they're dealing with it right now. This traffic reports service of SNL Coin, so it'll be restricted for the next few minutes until they can get it back up on its wheels and out of there. Southbound 270 south of Page, Ladue still busy. North 270, Big Bend to Ladue, that's still slow. Eastbound 64. There's a little slowdown through the Chesterfield Parkways. East of Lindbergh, it's still pretty busy all the way to Big Bend. South 170, but still bogged down both sides of Olive. Westbound 64, Clayton, Skinker to Hanley is heavy. Northbound 55, let's call it Loughborough to Virginia now. Downtown still clear across the bridges. No change on the Illinois side. Southbound 55 backed up 143 to 270. And westbound 270 from 55 most of the way to 157 is very slow on that detour route for the 5570 closure. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
This morning, we need to highlight a couple of big stories that could impact your digital life. With me, CBS tech contributor Ian Scher. Ian, I noticed that dozens of organizations have been compromised by a cyber espionage operation targeting Microsoft. What do we know about this hack so far?
Yeah, Microsoft on Saturday issued an alert about active attacks on its what are called SharePoint technology, which is essentially file sharing technology. And it's specifically affecting people who are running their own version of it. You know, you can pay Microsoft to do it for you, but people who are running it on their own computers or in their own servers or at their own businesses are the ones affected. Now, this is all the result of what is called a zero-day attack, which is about as scary as it sounds. It means that it's a vulnerability that people didn't know about until it was actively being used. And so it takes a little bit longer for them to fix everything. But what is problematic now, of course, is we're still getting a sense of how big of a hack it is, how many companies are involved, and what the actual damage was. Because, of course, you know, the first thing that they focus on is making sure that this problem is fixed and stopping the hack before they figure out what the damage is.
Another thing that we want to point out that's happening right now is YouTube is pulling the plug on some propaganda channels that have been linked to China, Russia, and other groups. How big was this purge?
Well, we're talking about thousands of YouTube channels. And part of what I think is really fascinating is that social media is enormous. We all know that. YouTube itself is something like the second or third most popular website in the world. And when you think about the reach that these propaganda networks had, that is part of why these types of moves are really important. It underscores, first off, how successful propaganda can be, and also how widely spread it can be. The one thing we don't really ever have a sense of is how big of a problem this is broadly. Right? 11,000 accounts sounds like a big number, but there are estimates out there that put the number of actual influence campaigns by political adversaries and countries that don't like us much larger, right? And so is this a drop in the bucket? It's really hard to tell sometimes.
That is CBS Tech contributor Ian Scher. Thank you so much, Ian.
Absolutely.
Your Money Report is next. It's 8:34.
Calling all soccer fans, the Premier League is coming to STL. St. Louis City SC will host English Premier League giants Aston Villa Football Club Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. Wednesday, July 30th at 7:30 p.m. That's stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
When we started Neovitin back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neovitin Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitin Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
8:35, time for your Money Report, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Software engineers at Microsoft are working on more patches to stop the hackers who are exploiting a security flaw in a program used by organizations around the world. One patch was released over the weekend, but more are needed. Two cybersecurity firms say criminals are launching attacks through the Microsoft vulnerability and targeting SharePoint clients. A source says systems used by the Department of Education, Florida Department of Revenue, and the Rhode Island General Assembly are among those that were assessed. Trump administration trade negotiators continue urgent talks with the nation's trading partners ahead of next week's tariff deadline. You might be paying less for eggs, but egg production in the U.S. is still low. The Department of Agriculture says the production last month was down more than 5% from June of last year. As stocks were narrowly missed at the end of yesterday's session on Wall Street, modest advances put the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 at record highs. The Dow fell less than 0.1%. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
For amazing work that is a true value, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. There are actually a couple of homes in my neighborhood where they are going on their second, one house, their third fence. Meantime, I have had my fence from Chesterfield Fence and Deck for 13 years now, and it's still going strong because they only ever use the highest quality materials. They have their own installation teams with years of experience, and that is the true value of a Chesterfield fence project, whether it is a fence or a gate or a patio, a pergola, a deck, a sunroom, a screen room, you name it. They can build it in your outdoor space, and they'll do quality work that will bring you joy for years to come. Mention me, Debbie Monterrey, and they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. Stop by and visit them. They have a beautiful showroom in the Chesterfield Valley, or they'll come to you with free project design and free in-home estimates. It's chesterfieldfence.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Doctor, when should somebody typically get a hearing evaluation?
You know, Charlie, the simple answer to that would be at age 65. However, there are some contributing factors that might make people more at risk for hearing loss. Some people with a history of noise exposure or a family history of hearing loss, or those suffering from tinnitus. Those people should come in to have their hearing evaluated at age 60. And of course, anyone noticing difficulty hearing or ringing in the ears should come in as soon as they notice these changes.
That's the word from Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center with 3 convenient locations: Florissant, St. Peter's, and Creve Coeur. Schedule an appointment today by calling 636-441-7470 or the Audiology Center STL.com.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at Zero Res. It's National Carpet Cleaning Month, and because of Zero Res's commitment to the DGS, you're going to get 3 rooms of carpeting clean plus 1 free plus $50 off your air duct services. 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Sunny skies, 80 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. A House subcommittee will hold a hearing today on organ donation safety lapses. That after a federal investigation suggests some donations are being rushed. COVID-19 cases on the rise. According to the CDC, the number of cases now growing or likely growing in at least 27 states. Coming up, the federal government rounding up wild Mustangs, and a St. Louis filmmaker will tell us about efforts to keep those horses free. First, though, a check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still working with the overturned dump truck crash, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical. So the northbound lanes of 141 on the north side of 370 remain shut down, and the westbound 370 exit to 141 is jammed back to the highway. So just pay attention if you are getting off there. Southbound 270 approaching Olive to Ladue, that's still slow. North 270 Doherty Ferry to Ladue, still heavy. Eastbound 64 still bogged down east of Lindbergh to Big Bend. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker to Hanley's heavy. South 170 just sort of crowded at Brentwood, and still not much change on the Illinois side. Southbound 55 delays from 143 down to 270, and westbound 270 from 55 most of the way to 157, still stop and go pockets. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. And checking that forecast for today, there is an extreme heat warning in effect through Thursday. It's going to feel like it's around 105 this afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds, otherwise hot and humid, and we could see a thunderstorm, a high of 92. Again, we have sunny skies, 80 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said, call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call, even though it's late, JerryKelly.com.
The horses are still alive. Their spirits are dead. So it feels like empty. It's just an overwhelming emptiness.
A federal court last week stopped the Bureau of Land Management from rounding up thousands of wild horses, but it could just be temporary. A St. Louis native has turned his cameras on the practice with an upcoming documentary called Wild Within. In studio this morning, Director Ryan James Delaney. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
How did you become involved in the plight of wild Mustangs?
You know what? I was born and raised here in St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up training quarter horses, and horses have always been such, a big part of my life. And then I've always known Meg, and I've known of her story, and timing has just really played a huge part in why now.
And that is the voice that we heard. Tell us a little bit about her story.
Yeah, so she was driving to go see her horses in Chesterfield off Wild Horse Creek Road, ironically. And it was a Sunday morning around 10 a.m. and she got hit by a drunk driver. And she had to relearn to walk again. so many surgeries, and that brings a lot of trauma and issues. So she just kind of had to find her freedom and her purpose all over again. She was not able to ride a bike again, ride her horse again. So she kind of fell into photography, and she took a clinic out at Return to Freedom, which ironically is where the horse Spirit lives. And so she really, everyone knows Spirit, and she fell in love with the horses, and she became a famous professional wild horse photographer. And so she started living on the ranges and traveling to, Anarchy, Red Desert, the Priors, and just these different places, and really found healing. That's kind of what we hope people see in our documentary and kind of find their own healing.
There's a lot of little girls who know Spirit from the TV show, the animated TV show. But let's talk about the reality of these wild Mustangs and what they're facing right now. Which states are home to these horses?
Yeah. So in our documentary, we started off at the Priors. That's in Montana. And, these horses, they're a family. There's moms and dads, and Meg, it'll show in our documentary, she knows their genetics. She knows, this is the father of this horse. This is the mother. This is the grandparents. And they're like elephants. There's like a really big family bond there. And it's just really beautiful to witness that. And you don't really think of animals as humans with like family bonds, but they are, and they have it. And I got to see that firsthand. And we show that in our documentary. But they are facing, they can't speak. They're fine. They're healthy. They're eating. There's plenty of land. It's just, there's a deeper thing with the Bureau of Land Management, and that will showcase in our documentary as well. They wiped out the Red Desert. Meg actually rescued 3 horses from the Red Desert, and it was really cool because she got to the Red Desert is also in Wyoming, by the way. She got to witness these horses be born. She got to witness like their family members and their grandparents, and then this monster comes out of the sky, rounds them up, and then they're separated from their family. And it's dangerous to run these horses for miles in the heat. A lot of these horses are pregnant. A lot of them have newborn 1-day-old foals. And so, running them, it's not safe. It's not. And there's this thing called PZP, which is a form of birth control for horses. And that's what we're really pushing because, yeah, we need to control the herd, right? You can't have an overpopulation, but there's not an overpopulation. It took us, sometimes we would drive for 6 hours just to find these horses out on thousands and thousands of acres of land. So, there's a miscommunication about why they're being rounded up.
And you're talking about the roundups that happen with the helicopters. So there is, there is a big debate over, what really is proper conservation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are complaints from ranchers that lead to some of what the Federal Bureau of Land Management does with these animals. What happens to these horses when they are in captivity, when they're corralled?
Yeah. So, some of these horses, like I said, there's a bigger picture in the roundup than just like, is there enough room for cattle and horses to mingle together and graze? Yes, there is. There's plenty of land, plenty of water, plenty of resources for them. But it does come down to some of these horses get rounded up and they go for $60,000 because of their bloodline. Now, it's our tax money paying for these roundups. That's costing millions and millions of dollars each year, when you could have a more cost-efficient way, and that would be birth control. But we don't make money off of that, right? So that's a thing. And if they don't get adopted for whatever reason, you have 30,000 plus horses sitting in corrals and holding facilities for sometimes the rest of their lives. And now they're saying if they're 10 years or older, they put this big U on them, and it stands for useless. So I guess the Bureau of Land Management looks at them. If they're 10 years and older, maybe we should put them down. We can't adopt them out. So then they just sit in these holding facilities if they're not adopted, and it's our money paying for them. When you have all of this grass and water that's able to, they could sustain themselves, right? So that's a kind of a big concern, and it just doesn't make any sense. So that's kind of what propelled me to also want to document this and kind of let the public watch my documentary and form their own opinion and kind of let them put the pieces together, right? And kind of say, I'm not understanding this.
So it's Wild Within. I know you have support from Peter Bush and Grant's Farm on this. When will the public be able to see your work?
Yeah. Thank you so much to Peter Bush and Grant's Farm. They have been just tremendous on helping us spread awareness. And they actually have one of the wild Mustangs, Gabriel, and he's from the Aniki herd in Utah. And we were actually able to film there as well and learn about his history. But Wild Within will be released in 2026. So we're really excited for that. Our deadline for the editing is August 22nd, and then we'll start submitting for film festivals. And 2026 is going to be a big year for this.
We'll have to have you back. We appreciate you coming in studio this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you, Megan, for having me and helping spread the word about the Wild Mustangs.
That is Ryan James Delaney, director of Wild Within, joining us this morning on KMOX. And coming up next, an 18-year-old girl died last year in a foster home in Illinois. We ask why DCFS still hasn't released a full report. It's 8:49.
Chris Ranji for Siteman Cancer Center, and you have to know that you are somebody's favorite person, and your health matters not just to you, but it matters to people who care about you. Getting screened early for any cancer, whether it's colon or breast cancer, prostate cancer, or lung cancer, it is important to do that. Siteman has set up a website called getscreenednow.com. And when you go to it, it's going to help you find a location nearer you. If you live a little farther out from St. Louis and don't want to make the trip into the city, you can get screened closer to home. Getscreenednow.com, because for me, I'm over 45. It's time for that colonoscopy. Third leading cause of cancer-related deaths in both men and women. And Getscreenednow.com will help you find a location that is good for you. Doing it early, really, really important. Getscreenednow.com.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After proving the doctors wrong following my accident, I got back to baseball, started kicking field goals, and finally got paid as a pro kicker and ultimately became a leader in the marketing world. That's why I trust Renner Garage Door, exceeding expectations for over 65 years. They service, sell, and install top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Get your free quote today. Check them out at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. Buying your brand new Buick or GMC has never been easier. Here at Suntrup Buick GMC, our family-owned and operated dealership has been proudly servicing St. Charles County for over 30 years by always providing aggressive pricing, a massive inventory selection, and exceptional customer service. Buying from Suntrup means you get the best vehicle at the best price. Visit Suntrup Buick GMC today or visit us online at suntrupbuickgmc.com and save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. An 18-year-old girl died last year in a foster home in Fairview Heights, Illinois, where she had lived for 4 years. Now there are some serious questions about why the State Department of Children and Family Services isn't releasing more information about their actions in this case. Joining me now, Beth Hunsdorfer. She is with Capital News, Illinois. She's been covering this story. Beth, thank you so much for being with me.
Thanks for having me, Megan.
What do we know in brief about the circumstances of this teenager's death?
Well, Mackenzie Thumley was found at the bottom of basement stairs in a home in Fairview Heights. She died at a local hospital from a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that hit her lungs. But she had a lot of injuries in varying states of healing. And there appears, according to the OIG, the Office of the Inspector General for the Department of Children and Family Services, there had been a caseworker at the home 2 days before. But because of the lack of information that's been released, we don't know if there was an abuse investigation ongoing at the time. We also don't know about the other allegations of abuse that were going on in the home. The prosecutors say that there were at least 3 other allegations that were found not to be credible by kids that lived in the home.
What reasons is DCFS giving for not providing more information like it's required to under law?
They're saying that releasing any more information would complicate or compromise the investigation Fairview Heights police have ongoing right now. Keep in mind, the Mackenzie died in 2024. She died a year ago. And the indictments have been handed down. If they're going to wait to release information about the other allegations of abuse and neglect that were going on in the home, it could be years, especially because of the complicated medical testimony that's expected to happen in this case. Both sides are going to have experts, and they are saying we're not going to release any information until after the trial. Which could potentially, no trial usually, it's rare that a trial ends, a conviction ends with no appeal. So could it stretch out into the appeal? Child advocates are saying there needs to be immediacy to this to see what went wrong, potentially to save other kids that are in the system.
For you, as you've covered these issues, and it's not like DCFS hasn't come under scrutiny, for years, what more do you want to know specifically in this case?
I think it's important to know what the contractors' roles in this were. Lutheran Family Services, who were the child, who monitored the child, monitored the home. They were the one that probably would have had most contact. The social worker and the social workers that would have had the most contact with Mackenzie, and the licensing agency, which is Caritas. Like, what role did they have? If we're contracting, if we're paying state tax dollars to contractors, what is their role in the system? And are there checks and balances about the work that they do?
And Beth, I think one disturbing thing about this case that you brought out in your reporting is the fact that this was a teenager who had a sudden decline in just her ability to cope with school. She had been pulled out of school. At the time, as an 18-year-old, still in foster care, it just seems like there's a lot of questions about what was going on and some red flags that could have been caught.
Right. Well, we had done some reporting on homeschooling, and in Illinois, foster parents can homeschool kids. It is a little concerning because it takes away a level of protection for the child. Daily contact with mandated reporters like coaches and principals and teachers. Could they have picked up on something that was going on with Mackenzie earlier if she had been in a traditional school? And like when she was at her previous school, she was an honor roll student. She was playing sports. And true, she had some trauma in her life, but something happened around 21, 22. And it's really not clear what happened. She became truant. She wasn't doing her work. She was pulled out of traditional school. So like, those are the questions that I think DCFS could answer.
Beth, thanks for your reporting, and we'll watch for your follow-ups.
Thank you so much for having me, Megan. Have a great day.
You as well. That is Beth Hunsdorfer with Capital News Illinois joining us this morning on KMOX. Coming up tomorrow on the show, we're going to look at the cost of back-to-school shopping season with KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz. Plus, is there anything the state of Illinois can do to stop State Farm from hiking homeowner insurance rates?
This week on the show, we're discussing the midlife today, talking about kids and the decision to or not to have them. That's coming up. Also, Mark Sweeney will talk some Cardinals baseball with us. Dave Simons, get your finances straight. All of that coming up on the Chris and Amy Show right after the news, 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, you pick them. You don't have to take my word for it. Lots of 5-star reviews out there for my friends at Rhino Shield because, like me, there are a lot of satisfied Rhino Shield customers. And what does that mean? Well, maybe you're satisfied because it's exactly the color and beautiful, vivid color that you wanted, right? With the trim and all of that, they can do in different colors, just like you would with regular paint, but it lasts for so long. Maybe you're happy because you're not out there scraping or having to pay somebody to scrape and paint every 4 or 5 years. That's what happens with regular paint. Not Rhino Shield. Goes on thick, waterproofs your house completely, protects it from the rays of the sun, gives you an insulation factor. It's fantastic. They've used it on HGTV on unpainted brick, block, aluminum, steel, hardy cement board. It's fantastic on all of it. Call them today for a free evaluation, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect